Hey everyone, welcome to Phoenix What If. Today, we're bringing you an incredible new movie on What If Naruto Learned the Sage Powers in the World of Bleach. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before we begin. Let's get into the story. Naruto sat up as he felt rain beginning to fall around him. Where am I? He wheezed Gra. His eyes felt heavy as he strained to open them. His body ached as he sat up. That bastard Sasuke. Where is he? Naruto struggled to his feet and looked around him. The clearing he sat in was a total wasteland, no trees for half a mile around them, the grass burnt off and the clouds parted. Naruto spotted Sasuke limping away from him, clutching his arm. He only made it 2 steps before he fell to his knees, stumbling as if his body wasn't listening. Come here, you bastard, Naruto said as he started to run towards Sasuke, only to be stopped by a dead weight on his chest. Naruto fell into a heap of limbs. After recovering from the crash landing, he saw some silver shape attached to his chest with a chain hanging from it. What the hell is this? What did you do, Sasuke? Naruto was seething as he tried to remove the object. 3 years of training with Ero Sennin, learning everything he knew, and now I die by your hands, Naruto screamed and yelled as he tried to yank the chain loose with no avail. He turned to see where the other end of the chain went to and found something he wouldn't expect. There lay his dead body with a hole right through where his heart would have been. He rushed over and shook his body with no effect. I'm dead, he asked to anyone who would hear him. He looked back to Sasuke to see Karen land next to him. Appears so, Kit. Kyuubi? You're still here? Naruto asked with a sniffle. Yay, still trapped behind this infernal seal. Looks like you're stuck with me for some more. Well, it's better than no one, Naruto said. During his trip with Jiraiya, Naruto had learned to talk with Kyuubi, and now they could communicate, and Kyuubi was in touch with Naruto's senses. Naruto closed his eyes as he sobbed silently. Kit, open up, look to the east. Naruto snapped his head in that direction, now completely aware of everything around him. He saw Karen helping Sasuke stand while Suigetsu and Jugo stood over them. What exactly am I looking at, Fox? Naruto asked with distaste. You should sense him by now. Naruto continued to look where the Kyuubi said. He learned long ago that Kyuubi's senses were easily 5 times stronger than his. Naruto smiled as Jiraiya walked into the clearing with a sad frown on his face. Jugo and Suigetsu took up stances protectively. Snake ends here, was the old man's only words. Suigetsu scoffed at his remark and charged Jiraiya, only to be met with a Rasengan to the chest, forcing him to turn into his water form and recover. Jugo enlarged his fist to pound Jiraiya with, but was stopped by a second appearance. I thought I told you to wait for me, getting a little slow, were we? HMPH, Tsunade turned and proceeded to take care of Jugo. You won't come near Sasuke, Karen said confidently. She was met with a Rasengan to the chest as well, killing her. That move won't work on me anymore, the newly formed Suigetsu said as he swung Zabuza's sword towards him in a wild charge. Summoning Jutsu, Jiraiya now stood above the massive Gamabunta, who looked down at the sword that had pierced his skin. I need some oil to finish him, made of water. Bunta spewed forth like a river and Jiraiya ignited it, destroying the waterman in a raging inferno. Bunta saw the motionless Naruto and discovered why he had been summoned. I guess the brat didn't make it, Bunta spoke as he summoned Kichi, Tatsu and Ma and Pa. The gathered force now stood over Sasuke. Naruto felt an enormous weight upon him, causing him to stumble. He felt some kind of energy heading towards him. A frantic Naruto looked to the sky to see a rift opening up. A huge figure with a long nose and a white mask reached through. Naruto saw the creature look to him with a deafening wail. A large red ball started to form near its mouth. Okay. Now what the hell is that? Naruto screamed. Kyuubi. The Mainos released the Sero at Naruto, who dodged to the right but was caught in the edge of the blast because of the chain. Blasted thing, Naruto said as he began to pull at the chain once more, finally removing it from his body. Now a long chain was connected to his chest. This one looks tasty, a new smaller creature said as it approached, similar to a turtle in shape with a solid white mask. Tsunade stood up from ripping both of Sasuke's arms off, leaving him to bleed to death. She jumped to atop Bunta's head with Jiraiya as they all headed back to Konoha with Naruto in his arms. "Damn it, Kyuubi, help me here," Naruto yelled in his mind as he dodged a strike from one of the smaller hollows as the Mainos just watched. The chain was causing his movements to falter tremendously. "Kyuubi. Damn it all to hell," Naruto said as he jumped over another hollow. The hollow grabbed the chain and with a massive tug brought Naruto back to the ground. "Okay, since dodging isn't working, let's fight back," Naruto said aloud as he jumped to the creature's face and landed a punch right into the center of its mask. The hollow released its hold on the chain and stumbled backwards. The mask cracked once before shattering into many pieces, causing the hollow to vanish. "Well, that works. Little hard on the hand though." Naruto looked around him to see that there were many more of these pesky creatures staring at him. He took off to the nearest one and ducked under its swipe. He moved under its guard and delivered an uppercut to the mask of one looking like some kind of bird. Naruto watched as the creature faded out of existence. "Damn it, I think I broke my hand," Naruto cursed as he held his throbbing hand. The small creatures beginning to creep near him. "Let us help you." "Who's there, Fox? This isn't the time for games." The Mainos took a step forward, having enough of the petty soul evading them, another Sero charging. "Well shit," Naruto said. The Mainos released the Sero right at Naruto. Naruto found himself in a familiar place, but soon wondered how he arrived back home. He turned and looked over the village from atop his father's head. Jiraiya told him about his parents. "This was always my favorite place," he said to himself. "That is why we are here." Naruto whirled around to see the most beautiful women he had ever laid eyes on. A woman wearing white robes stood in front of him. She wore a silver Viking helm on her head that seemed a size too big for her as she pushed it back into position. On the helm were two small horns sprouting from the left and right, about 3 inches long. From under the helm sprouted long dark blue hair that reached below her shoulders. On the chest of the robes was a red cross that extended to the sides of her chest. But what gained Naruto's attention were the 10 glowing white appendages that sprouted from either shoulder. They floated slightly, but Naruto noticed they took the shape of wings. "Are you an angel?" Naruto asked as he gazed at her beauty. The women giggled. "I am your Zanpakuto, however you are not yet ready to hear my name." Naruto sported a dumbstruck face as he looked at the women in front of him. "And even though you already know mine, you must wait until you can hear hers," an old-looking man with red hair in black robes said from beside Naruto. He had a red beard that extended a few inches from his chin. He rested his hands on a wooden cane that had a T shape at the top. From his right shoulder to the left side of his waist ran a red sash that also wrapped around his waist as a belt. Behind him waved 9 red-orange tails. On his shoulders were 2 pure black shoulder guards and black bracers on his forearms. "Kyuubi?" Naruto asked, and the man nodded. "Okay, what's going on?" Naruto said as he looked at the 2 beings in front of him. "Apparently, she is your fighting spirit, and since I am sealed within you, so am I." "Okay, but what does that mean?" "It means we are part of your soul." "Just open your damn eyes and you'll see." Kyuubi forced Naruto back to the real world after grumbling about stupid humans. Naruto found himself staring at the Sero beam coming for him. He rolled to the right as the beam destroyed more of the land where he once stood. The Mainos roaring in anger. Naruto looked down to his right hand to see a katana in it. He was marveled by it. The blade a deep red, the same as the man's hair, and 9 long tassels sprouting from the hilt. Part of the guard was a deep blue, the same as the women's hair color. It depicted the yin and yang symbol as the guard, but with one being the same red and the other the same blue. The handle was the same blue with gold laced around it. Shinjite Naruto formed the name of his sword slowly as he felt it pulse. "Well, let's see how you do," Naruto said as he charged the Mainos. He arrived at its base and swung hard, expecting resistance. The blade slid right through it as if it were swung through air. Naruto smirked as he saw this but frowned at something new. 2 more giant rifts had opened and more Mainos were clambering through. Naruto started to sprint around, killing off any of the smaller hollows that got close enough. He had figured that he had downed at least 30 of them. Naruto looked up to see that the Mainos had encircled him with their huge bodies. "Damn it," Naruto screamed aloud. "Why is it always me?" Naruto stood looking to the skies as the Mainos stood around him in a circle. Naruto felt as if pure evil was circling him. Always you for what? A small girl with bubblegum pink hair asked from atop Naruto's head. Wah, hey, you got to get out of here, you'll get killed. Naruto screamed, but the girl just smiled back. Don't worry, Ken-chan will take care of them, the girl said as she pointed behind him. Naruto turned to see a huge man standing well over 6 feet. Probably more. His hair was spiked and an eye patch covering his right eye. Hey, most hollows I've ever seen come after one soul, the huge man stated. He then jumped off and proceeded to slice all the Manos to nothing, causing the rest of the hollows to flee. Ha ha ha, that was a great fight, the giant said as he walked towards the 2 smaller people. Zaraki Kenpachi, captain of the 11th division at your service, the man said as he rested his sword on his shoulder. Yachiru Kusajishi, vice captain of the 11th division, the girl said from Kenpachi's other shoulder. Naruto just looked at the girl, barely noticing her move. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, dead guy, Naruto said laughing at his own little joke. The man smiled. Naruto's sense told him to guard and he listened to them as the giant of a man had swung down at him. After a few seconds he released the attack. What the hell was that for? Naruto demanded. I must say I am impressed, I've never seen a soul with their Zanpakuto before even reaching Soul Society. What? It would be your heaven, and there are very few people who can block one of Ken-chan's strikes. Yachiru said from above his shoulder. Kenpachi just smiled. Since you got your sword you can come with us then. Kenpachi sliced the air and a smaller rift opened this time and he walked through motioning for Naruto to follow. Naruto looked at his Zanpakuto and felt it give a small pulse, reassuring Naruto. He took one last look behind him before walking through. Naruto exited the portal and found that he was now in a city of white. Wow, it's beautiful, Naruto said as he gazed around, taking it all in. Hey, come on, everyone wants to see you, Kenpachi said as he started to walk towards the larger buildings. Naruto followed, still looking around. Who are we going to see? The other captains, Kenpachi stated. Yay, I wonder if Yama has any sweets for me. Yachiru squealed as they began walking. Naruto was lost in his thoughts as he took in the new area, his mind analyzing everything. Suddenly a question hit him. Hey Kenpachi? Yay. Is there anyone else from my world here? None of these people carry themselves like ninja? You're right, your world usually takes care of itself and doesn't need our help, and in fact you are the second person to ever come from your world. Second? Wow, that's not a lot. The other was an old man just like Captain Yama that always gives me sweets too. Yachiru exclaimed. Think I can see him sometime? Naruto asked. Yay, in fact he's probably at the meeting now, he's the vice captain of the first under Yamamoto. Who? You'll see we're here, Kenpachi said as he pushed open 2 large doors and walked over to take his spot among the people. Yachiru motioned for him to walk forward. Naruto walked forward slowly. He saw an old man with a long white beard seated in front of him with his arms resting on a cane. Good work, Kenpachi, the man stated, gaining a grunt from the giant. Naruto, welcome to Soul Society. Hiya, and gave a light wave as the other people stared at him. Yamamoto chuckled softly. It seems that you were destined to come here to become a Shinigami. Whoa, a what? Like a silly, Yachiru said as she sat on Kenpachi's shoulder. Naruto mouthed an "Oh. What exactly do I have to do? You will be a Shinigami and help carry souls onto the next life, just as Kenpachi and Yachiru did to you. That doesn't seem too bad. So Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, would you like to become a Shinigami? I guess I could. Very well. We shall enroll you at the academy. I think you will be able to catch up to the first years. Yamamoto said. If I may, General, this kid is strong enough to skip the academy altogether, Kenpachi stated. He could join my squad and I would have him up to seated officer strength in a week. The other captains knew of Kenpachi's tremendous fighting style, but couldn't imagine this boy in front of them becoming a seated officer in a week. You want us to believe that this child is strong enough to skip learning the basics of being a Shinigami, Byakuya said, emotionless. Yay, the damn kid took care of all the hollows, except for the Manos. Naruto just smiled as he felt the stares of everyone on him. I would like to test him then, Toshiro said as he eyed the boy a little taller than him. Naruto turned to look at the outspoken individual. A kid about his height, maybe a little shorter. Naruto never even met the kid and he wants to start something with him. Naruto didn't like his attitude at all. Ooh. Whitey wants to fight him. Yachiru exclaimed from in front of Toshiro, sounding like an announcer. Yes, I would like to, okay, but I think that Naruto is going to win. That is your opinion, he replied to the girl. Yamamoto closed his eyes. Very well then, let us take this outside, he said as he got up, followed by his vice captain and the rest of the captains. Hey old man Yamamoto, do you have any sweets for me? Yachiru asked, walking step by step next to the old general. As always, Yamamoto handed her a little bag of candy. Yay. Thank you, General Sir, she said with a mock salute before bouncing away. Ken-chan, look at what I got. Naruto felt the stare of the white-haired kid looking at him. Man, what's his problem? Don't even know him and he's mad at me. You had better win, kid. Kyuubi, about time you woke up. I was getting lonely, Naruto said in his head, mocking the demon. Well, you know, any fight gets me awake. Hee-hee. Naruto found himself on a square courtyard with the captains lined up to the side and the white-haired kid across from him drawing his sword. Any rules? Naruto asked. None, Toshiro said as he disappeared. Ah. Naruto held his sword behind him, blocking the strike. Thanks for saying go. Naruto pushed him back and began a wild group of slashes that were all blocked or dodged. The captains could tell that Naruto had no skill with this type of sword before. His attacks were all off. His style looked like that of a smaller sword, perhaps a dagger. What caught their attention was that Naruto was very agile and quick on his feet. He moved a little differently from Shinigami, but just as fast. It seems he has decent skill with a sword, but I still believe he should go the academy, Aizen stated. You will see that this boy is the most surprising fighter you will ever see. Give him a chance. Are you sure, Sarutobi? Soifon asked to the man who wore a strange-looking hat covering his face. Naruto blocked a strike and rolled to the side, getting fed up with how this was turning out. He could tell that the other guy was going easy on him. Toshiro jumped up, sword raised above his head for a downward strike. Naruto decided to try a new tactic. He parried the strike and reached out and grabbed the side of Toshiro's robe and yanked him towards him. Naruto smashed the hilt of his sword into his face before Toshiro escaped, earning a gasp of surprise from most of the captains. He stepped back with his nose bleeding. Well, looks like I get the first real hit. No more holding back, was the reply. Toshiro appeared in front of Naruto and cut him across his torso, leaving a gash. Naruto attempted to grab him again but missed as Toshiro stepped behind him and gave him a diagonal cut across his back. He came in again from the front and sliced horizontally. Naruto grabbed Toshiro's hand on his sword and attempted to kick him in the head. Toshiro ducked and tried to pull away, but Naruto's grip was strong. Toshiro considered his options as Naruto's sword moves to impale him. Sit upon the frozen heavens, Hiranmara. Naruto was thrown back with some force and landed on his butt next to where he dropped his sword. He watched in awe as a dragon made of ice erupted from Toshiro's sword and hovered above him. Naruto gulped as jumped to the side and headed for Toshiro. He attacked with a diagonal slash, which was blocked by the captain. Toshiro smirked as the dragon crashed into Naruto, freezing him with a smirk on his face. I thought you would do better than that. Sheesh, I'm trying, you know. Not every day that some punk whips out a dragon from nowhere. Naruto yelled as he looked around his transformed mindscape. Yes, we know, you cannot be this opponent right now. Thanks for the encouragement. What she means is you are ready to hear her name, Kit. Naruto smiled and turned to the women to see she and Kyuubi were smiling back. A white light emitted through the frozen chunk of ice. Sing to the heavens, Shugotenshi. The ice erupted and spewed forth, freeing Naruto. His katana now gone. In its place was large round shield, deep blue in color with a white cross in the center. The blue of the shield seemed to rotate slowly around the center at a constant pace. The light reflected off it and Naruto saw the edge of the shield was in fact a blade. I see you were correct, Sarutobi. Never before have I seen such an odds-on Pakuto. I have a hunch that he is not done yet, Sarutobi said, grinning. Yamamoto raised an eyebrow. Toshiro sent his dragon again. Naruto heard a voice in his head telling him what to do. He jumped back and kneeled down with his shield covering most of his body save for the very bottom of his feet. The cross on the shield glowed white and pulsed. A wall of water rose up. The dragon smashed into the wall of water and froze it. I expected more, Toshiro said as he started to walk away. His sense told him to duck and fast. Naruto's shield sailed over his head, catching a few pieces of hair. Toshiro turned around to see Naruto charging with his shield back in his hands. He sliced at the shield and Naruto tilted the shield to the side and Toshiro's blade slid off. Naruto spun in the same motion and grabbed his arm with his left hand. He continued to turn with the edge of his shield ripping into Toshiro's arm. "Don't worry, punk. This is only half of my Shikai, apparently," Naruto bragged as the kid took a confused look at him, along with the other captains. Toshiro flash-stepped behind Naruto again, who ducked under his attack. Toshiro crouched low and swept Naruto's feet out from under him. Naruto placed a hand on the ground and flipped high into the air. This was exactly what Toshiro hoped for as Hiranmara descended from the skies and froze Naruto in a pillar of ice. The captains were shocked by the boy's performance. He was keeping up with a captain using his Shikai. Toshiro panted slightly from the battle, as did Naruto. A thin visible pulse of energy went forth from the frozen ice. Sarutobi, being the only one who recognized it, smiled even more. "Now you will see the extent of his powers, I presume," Sarutobi said to the captains. The ice began to crack and Naruto's spirit pressure rose tenfold. Kenpachi was just grinning like a madman as the pressure matched some third seats in strength. "Roar down through hell, Kyuubi." The ice melted off of Naruto, who now stood with his shield in the left hand and a short sword in the other. The handle shone white again, bearing the 9 red tassels. The blade, about 2 foot long, shone red with Kyuubi's energy radiating off the blade in a fire-like manner. "Finally, this is something I can use." Naruto twirled the sword and gave it a few practice swings. He liked the fell more than the large katana. "Ready for round 2?" Naruto asked, disappearing. Toshiro jumped to the left and sending his dragon back at him. Naruto raised his sword at the dragon. Flame danced around the blade in a swirling manner before shooting towards the dragon and covering in it flames, melting it out of existence. The young captain stared in awe as his dragon was destroyed, as did the rest of the captains. Naruto ignored the stares and continued his attack. Toshiro slashed down and Naruto let the blade slide off his shield as he spun to the left and cut through the sleeve of Toshiro's robe, singing it. Each of Naruto's swings left dancing flames in its wake for a second before dying out. They continued in a dancing manner, with Naruto having a slight advantage because of his shield having a blade as well. They continued on for a few more minutes with Naruto utilizing his shield and sword to the fullest extent, his body and mind already knowing what to do. "Done yet?" Naruto asked. "I could continue, and release the second stage of my Zanpakuto, but you would not stand a chance. That would be overkill." "Bring it on, I could take it. You should just be lucky I don't have my chakra, then you would be in real trouble," Naruto said, growling back. Yamamoto tapped his cane against the ground, gaining everyone's attention. "I believe that Naruto-kun has proven his skill. It seems sufficient that he does not need to go to the academy, especially with the release of his Shikai. Therefore we have the matter of figuring what division he belongs in. I want him general. He would be a great strength, and I know he could get even stronger," Kenpachi said just as Yama finished. "I would also like the boy under my wing." "Kenpachi, didn't you say the 11th doesn't use anything but swords?" Soi Fon said, glaring at Kenpachi. "In his case I would make an exception." Soi Fon looked to Naruto with a smirk. He just smiled back lightly. "With his previous life, I believe he would be vice captain in no time." "Your point. He would never make vice captain in your division. I would say that he could give Akaku a run for his money." "Hell, Naruto could beat your vice captain now," Kenpachi yelled back. "I believe that he would progress further under me. To be in that group of weaklings, I think not," Kenpachi stated and crossed his arms. After stating their causes, everyone turned to Yamamoto. His eyes already closed in thought. He turned to his vice captain. "What is your opinion?" The man thought for a moment. The boy would do well in either division, especially if what his cloak suggests. The captains turned their heads to notice the orange cloak hanging from his shoulders. "I would say placing him in either division would work, but have him train under the other." "Please, General Yama," Yakiru said as she bounced to Naruto's shoulder. "Can I keep him?" Yamamoto chuckled at the girl's antics. Very well then, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki shall be placed in the 11th division but shall train with the 2nd. Is that acceptable, Soy Fan? Yes, even better than I had hoped for. I'm sure Kenpachi won't mind the extra work. Kenpachi's smile grew to cover his face. For once I wouldn't mind. Yay, you're with us, Yakiru exclaimed as she tugged on Naruto's hair as he smiled up at the girl. Then this meeting is adjourned, Yamamoto said as he began to walk back to the 1st division. The other captains returning to their respective headquarters. Alright, let's go, kid, you'll be living with us. You had better start training, I'll give you a month before you fight me. Kenpachi said as he led the kid away grinning. Yes, Captain, Naruto said as his weapons returned to a katana form and placed it at his waist. If I may for a moment, Kenpachi. Sure thing, Vice Captain. Yakiru want to wait and show him the way. Kenpachi gave as more of an order as he walked away. Okay, Ken-chan, the small girl yelled from atop Naruto's shoulders. Hello Vice Captain sir, Naruto said. I am amazed, Naruto-kun, that is the first time you have shown me respect in all the years I have known you. Do I know you? Naruto was utterly confused. Remember how we said you were the second to come from your world? Well, he is the first, Yakiru said as the man withdrew a piece of candy from his robes to give to her. I am surprised you did not recognize my voice, although it has been a few years I would suspect. The man removed his hat, which Naruto now recognized as the Hokage's hat. Gramps, Naruto said as he swarmed the man with a hug. Yakiru falling off his shoulders but landing on her feet gracefully. Not my fault, Tsunade never wore the damn hat. Naruto grumbled. Haha, my have I missed you, Naruto, Sarutobi said as he returned the hug. How? But, oh whatever, Naruto said with tears running down his face. So what has happened while I was away? I see you wear a cloak from the Toad Sages. Yay, Ero Sennin took me away for a couple years training and we went to see Ma and Pa and the rest of the Toads. Naruto continued with the story as Yakiru led them to the 11th division. Naruto rolled over in his bed to look out the window. He saw that it was sunny out and sat up and yawned. This is going to be an interesting new life, Naruto said to no one in particular. Hey Naruto, a girl's voice chimed from the other side of the door. Morning Yakiru-chan, Naruto called back. Yakiru appeared in front of Naruto causing him to fall back on the bed. Time to get up, sleepyhead. I am up, he mumbled from the bed. Then why are you still in bed? She asked innocently. Cause you scared me, moving so fast like that, Naruto admitted as he got up out of bed and grabbed his shirt, cloak and sword. Okay, let's go, Ken-chan is already at breakfast with Akaku and Yumchika, Yakiru said as she pulled him forward and out the door. Naruto chuckled before catching up to speed with Yakiru. Here, sit here, Yakiru exclaimed and pushed Naruto in a seat next to Akaku. Yakiru ran around Yumchika to sit next to Kenpachi. Don't worry, you'll get used to it, Akaku whispered as he drank some coffee. Hee, thanks, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Naruto said and extended his hand to Akaku. Akaku Madarame 3rd seat, Yumchika Yasugawa 5th seat, he introduced himself with a wave. Hi, nice to meet you. So anything to do today, Captain? Akaku asked, hoping for something exciting. Kenpachi sighed. Nothing, Yamamoto said. There isn't anything special for us to do, but I guess we could start training Naruto here. Naruto just smiled. He's not very good with such a big sword, he said he was used to smaller ones. What did you say they were? Naruto Kudad, Kebab, Kudu, Kuvai. Kanai, Naruto corrected. Yay, he said they were good with them, and he could throw them and cut things in. Everyone had drowned out Yakiru at this point. So you ready, Naruto? Kenpachi asked as he got up, followed by the rest of them. Yakiru jumping to sit on Naruto's shoulders, causing him to stumble before righting himself. Okay, let's go, Naruto. Ow, my ears. Hey, at least you don't have a nickname yet, Akaku added, thinking of his. After making it to the out courtyard and seeing it empty, Naruto asked a question. How come there aren't many people here? How many people are in the 11th division? About the same as the other divisions, but most of us tend to sleep late cause they got guard duty at night, so they still in bed, Yumchika said. Alright Naruto, show us your moves, Kenpachi ordered. Yakiru jumped off his shoulders and stood next to Kenpachi. What? Akaku. Akaku jumped over Naruto's head and unsheathed his sword. He held the sheath in the other hand. He swung horizontally and followed up with the sheath. A diagonal slash with his word followed by a half-turn with a vertical slash from the sheath. Akaku content for another minute showcasing all his favorite attacks. Naruto stood dumbfounded. Yeah, I don't really have any of that. I always just reacted and did whatever felt right, Naruto admitted. And like Yakiru was saying, I never used anything this big. It's awkward, Naruto said as he inspected the katana in his hand. Okay, then let's see what comes natural, Akaku said as he attacked Naruto with a downward slash. Naruto reacted quickly and swung upwards, forcing the attack away. Akaku smiled, feeling the strength in Naruto's attack, wild though it was. Akaku swiped horizontally at Naruto's arm. Naruto turned his sword straight with the blade facing down. Akaku's swipe hit the blade and Naruto forced his blade to the ground, catching Akaku's with his hilt. Naruto stepped on Akaku's blade and stepped again near the hilt. He had his knee up ready to nail Akaku in the face but was knocked aside by the sheath. Great moves, it will be fun sparring with you, Akaku admitted. In my previous life I was known as the #1 most surprising ninja, Naruto said cheerfully. Ooh, you were a ninja? Yakiru asked from in front of Naruto. Naruto jumped back as the little girl appeared in front of him. I told you don't do that, Yakiru, Naruto snapped back. Naruto ducked a swipe from Akaku, who started again. Yakiru quickly moving to safety and yelling at him for trying to hit her. Naruto bent backwards under a slash and parried the incoming sheath. Ikaku kicked at Naruto, who stepped around the kick and placed his foot behind Akaku's and blocked the sheath with his sword and grabbed Akaku's blade hand. Naruto smiled before delivering a headbutt, forcing Akaku to fall as Naruto brought his foot up, tripping him. Naruto's hand shifted from Akaku's hand and placed his forearm at his throat. Akaku brought his blade down, forcing Naruto to roll off him. Naruto rolled into a flip to land on his feet. Akaku got up and coughed once, getting his breathing back in order. I must say I am impressed. Your sword skills absolutely suck, but you make up for them with your hands, Akaku noted. He looked over to Kenpachi and the rest of his squad. Okay, that's enough for now, Kenpachi said as he got up. I got to go to the daily meetings. Akaku, you and Yamashika start teaching the kid how to use that sword of his, Kenpachi said as he walked away. Anyone want some candy? Yakiru asked as she munched on a bag of sweets. That was a very good show, Naruto. It seems that soon you will be able to beat Akaku, Yamashika said, walking closer with his arms still crossed. Yay, am I right in saying you are above lieutenant level, but not yet a captain's? Naruto inquired. Hehe, you must have been some kid in your time, Akaku admitted. Best in my village, at your age, yay, most people never get this strong, but I was a special case, Naruto said as he laid on the ground reminiscing of his adventures. Why is that? Naruto thought a moment before continuing. He had a feeling he could trust these guys. On the day I was born, a demon attacked my village. My father, who was the Yondaime Hokage, who was the strongest ninja alive at that point, sealed him into me to save the village from destruction. As a result, the people hated me for it, but I didn't let that hurt me. You see, the demon actually came with a few benefits. She gave me an abnormally large chakra store and advanced healing. Naruto cut his hand on the sword and showed it to his 3 listeners. The wound bled for a few seconds before stopping altogether and covering it with new skin. Now chakra is the energy we used, whereas you guys use your spirit energy. I could outlast even the most elite fighters and keep up with about anybody. I was going to be the next Hokage after Tsunade Obukun, Naruto said sadly. Well, don't worry, you will be even stronger here with us, Yakiru exclaimed as she offered him a piece of candy, which he accepted. Yay, but I think Tsunade and Jiraiya could beat some of the captains. Hell, Yakiru was there when I whipped up on that white-haired punk, Naruto said. Wait, you fought Captain Hitsugaya? Yamashika asked. Yay, bastard didn't believe my strength, but I beat him around a little. He even beat the big ice dragon with a fire blast, Yakiru added. Shikai, Akaku said, raising an eyebrow. Yay, that's what he called it. No wonder I had trouble, Akaku laughed. You really think your Jiraiya and Tsunade could beat some captains? Yamashika said. Yay, they could. Jiraiya was as strong as me, but a lot smarter and craftier. He could beat Tushiro no problem. He had some awesome fire attacks. That would have melted that dragon no problem. And Tsunade was stronger than anyone I know. Physically wise, I could never even stay upright after getting hit by her, and I know she never hit me her hardest, Naruto admitted before rubbing his face where Tsunade always hit him. You seem confident in their abilities, Akaku stated with a smirk. Yay, but that is all on the basis of using chakra. Oh wait, Gramps, he was a Hokage before he died, Naruto exclaimed. Who? Gramps. He means Lieutenant Sarutobi under Yamamoto. He is also from Naruto's world, Yakiru informed. An old man is your basis, Akaku said as he thought about that lieutenant. He actually hasn't ever seen the man fight, or what his Zanpakuto is. Hey, he was really good, before he turned into an old man. He is strong, he beat the previous lieutenant, without even using his Zanpakuto. Everyone looked to Yamashika. What, I was there. He was fast, and I mean fast. He appeared under his opponent's guard and kicked him into the air with a massive kick. Then he jumped up to him and turned him around before slamming him headfirst into the ground. Pretty good fighting skills. That would be the Omit Renge. Very extreme moves. Try to do one of them one day. Those kicks put a terrible strain on your body. Nah, I think I'll stick to using Hozukimaru, Akaku said as he got up and motioned for Naruto to as well. Alright, here are some basic moves and exercises to use. Tsunade sat at her desk with Jiraiya in one of the chairs to her side. A bottle of sake on the desk half empty. Why Jiraiya? Tsunade started. He was going to be Hokage, no doubt about it. Damn brat. Don't worry, I am sure he is in a better place. A Chunin walked into the room and knelt before the Hokage. Hokage-sama, the cage has airy. A swirl of sand materialized next to the messenger. I told you there was no need, Gaara said flatly. Is it true that Naruto has died? Tsunade remained quiet as she stared out her window. Yes, Uchiha Sasuke was the culprit. He has been taken care of, Jiraiya informed with a sigh. Taken care of for good. Yes, we were the ones who did it. When is the funeral? Tomorrow, at the village center. That's what I'll do, Tsunade exclaimed. Jiraiya and Gaara turned to the silent Hokage. I'll inform the entire village of Naruto's heritage along with the Kyuubi. I guess it wouldn't hurt. Oh, I think it would, especially the council. Naruto lay on the ground taking deep breaths. Numerous cuts covered his body. Across from him sat Yamashika and Akaku, who were both exhausted as well. Akaku was amazed. Never before had he seen someone learn something so quickly, and get it done as if he were a master. Anyone need a drink? Yakiru asked as she brought out 3 canteens. Thanks, Yakiru-chan, Naruto said as he sat up to catch the thrown canteen. Akaku and Yamashika were hit in the head with theirs. Thanks, Lieutenant, they both mumbled. So what does Kenpachi do all day? Naruto asked. Better yet, what do all the captains do? Basically they sit around all day, unless they have some paperwork, Akaku said with a smile. They are all actually pretty lazy. None of them train anymore, just lounging, Yamashika said as if taking offense to their activities. I wouldn't say that, Yakiru scolded. And why is that? It's true, he remarked. Is it now? A new voice said. Yamashika jumped up and hid behind the smaller Yakiru. Would you like to test that? Soi Fan asked. Nah, I think he was just being an idiot, Yakiru said sitting atop Soi Fan's left shoulder. Still quick as ever, Yakiru-chan. Yes, Captain. Kenpachi taught me to move really fast, Yakiru said as if her speed were normal. Humph, I bet he did. Now Naruto, are you ready for your training with me? Groj, was the jumbled noise that Naruto let out as he got to his feet and sheathed his sword. Think you can keep up? Soi Fan asked. Naruto stretched backwards over his head. He secured his sword to his waist. Yep. Soi Fan disappeared from view as Yakiru flipped off her shoulder. Naruto yawned. Too easy, Naruto said before he too disappeared from view. HMPF show off, Akaku said as he rested his blade on his shoulder as he walked away. Bye Naruto, Yakiru waved into the direction they disappeared. Naruto arrived at the training area of the 2nd Division to see Soi Fan standing across from him with her captain's cloak off. Naruto rested his hands on his knees, panting. He smiled up at the captain, who gave a small smirk. Better than I expected, but still not good enough. Sheesh, sorry, Naruto remarked sarcastically, not really caring. He would get faster eventually. Then let us begin, if you would place your Zanpakuto down. Hand to hand. Ah, you had better be careful, my sword skills are trash compared to taijutsu. Naruto said happily. I'll go easy on you. Funny, I had the same thoughts, Soy Fan replied before blurring towards him. Naruto caught her approaching wrist. He ducked under a swipe from her other hand. Soy Fan turned her body and kicked Naruto in the head, relinquishing his hold on her. Naruto got right up and parried another block from the captain. She crouched low and rocketed towards his chest. Naruto put an elbow down on her hands and pushed her head down into the ground. Soy Fan rolled out to the side with a smile. Very quick on your feet, you all already above seated officer level, let us begin with your speed, she replied. 5 hours later Naruto fell to his back with a smile on his face. He adjusted so his hands were behind his head. He just looked to the sky and basked in his day. He had never felt so accepted anywhere. He could tell that the 11th would become a family to him just as Tsunade and Jiraiya did. Soy Fan walked over with a towel around her neck and sat next to Naruto and pulled her knees to her chest. You passed my expectations. In a few weeks you will have learned more than enough, she said with a little bit of sadness. Ah, did Soy-chan have too much fun, and now she's going to miss me? Naruto said in a childlike manner. He was on the receiving end of a well-placed smack to the back of the head. Naruto smiled and looked over to the scowling captain. Naruto, Yakiru exclaimed as she jumped down from the roofs to land next to Naruto. So same time tomorrow? Naruto asked as he got up and Yakiru grabbed his hand. Yes, I will come and get you from the 11th. Good night Naruto. Good night Yakiru Fukutaicho, she said as she stood up and walked away. Night Soy-chan, he called. Good night Captain, Yakiru yelled before pulling Naruto away towards the 11th division. Soy Fan watched them go with a smile on her face. It has been 3 weeks since Naruto arrived in Soul Society. Each day he trains with Akaku and Yumshika in the mornings and Soy Fan in the afternoon. He practiced swordsmanship with the 11th division and hand-to-hand with Soy Fan. She also taught him the basics of Ryutsu, which he soaked up saying it was similar to chakra, just a different feel. Yakiru considers herself the little sister of Naruto. She always teases him and then runs to Kenpachi. She does however share in Naruto's love of pranks. Naruto saw Kenpachi as a father-type figure, somewhat. Akaku and Yumshika were his brothers who would do anything for each other. Soy Fan was like an older sister who always hit him. Kenpachi had also promoted Naruto to the 4th seat of the 11th. Naruto really didn't want to, seeing how Yumshika was still a little stronger than him, but it was also out of respect. Yumshika urged him on though by saying he doesn't like the number 4. Naruto had not yet been able to best Akaku in an all-out fight. The highest-ranking officers were seated at the main dining room of the 11th division. Kenpachi had just returned from the daily captain's meeting and sported a happier-than-normal grin. What's the news Kenpachi? Akaku asked with a slight twitch. Yamamoto finally decided to let Naruto here go on a hollow hunting mission. All 5 of us are going too. Really? All right, Naruto said jumping up. Yay, Naruto gets to fight some hollows. Yakiru said as she hugged Kenpachi. Akaku and Yumshika stood and stretched. Naruto now wore the black robes of a seated officer but also wore his sage cloak and headband around his waist. His Zanpakuto was in his hand. He had picked up the habit from his family. They all carried their weapons rather than fasten them to their bodies. Haha, well what are we waiting for? Let's go, Kenpachi said as he walked outside to open a portal with his sword. He led the way and everybody jumped through. They exited the portal and found themselves just outside a large town. Are we supposed to just walk through looking like this? Naruto asked. No, the people here can't see us unless they have high spirit pressure. That's very unlikely though. Most people barely have spirit pressure until they die. But your land is different, with their use of chakra. Akaku informed as he looked around for any hollows or signs. According to the mission, there are about 10 hollows running around. Yakiru said as she held the scroll in front of her face. I say we go that way, Yakiru exclaimed. The rest of the group just looked at her. Me and Naruto will go this way. Come on Naruto, Yakiru said, grabbing his hand. Naruto turned to the rest of the group for help, but they looked away as she pulled him to the north. Yakiru, take care of him. Mission says I'm supposed to accompany him, but you have it covered, Kenpachi said before he took off in the opposite direction Yakiru was pulling Naruto. We'll go this way, Yamashika said as he and Akaku walked away towards the east. Alright Naruto, first thing you do is look for anything out of the ordinary, like a destroyed building or something demolished. She informed from his shoulders. Okay, got it sis, Naruto said as he scanned the street. He continued to walk down the street. People passed by never noticing him. Naruto kept avoiding the incoming people as a habit. Yakiru, I don't see anything, Naruto whined. Silly, it's only been 5 minutes, usually me and Ken-chan take 30 minutes before finding a hollow. Ah, that long, Naruto whined. Yee, Naruto and Yakiru both snapped their head in the direction that Akaku and Yamashika went. I guess they found them, Naruto exclaimed as Yakiru jumped off his shoulders to run alongside him. The two Shinigami bounded off the buildings and under any obstacles as if they had practiced for a long time. They arrived a minute later to see Akaku surrounded by 9 hollows and Yamashika standing in front of 5 people who by the looks of things were killed in a car accident. Akaku was grinning like a madman. The hollows had a decent form of teamwork and were keeping Akaku on the defensive. About time Naruto, I've been waiting for you to get here so I can kill them. Gro Hozukimaru. Akaku released his shikai and sliced through the closest hollow. He likes to brag when he does a good deed, Yamashika whispered. Hey, I heard that. Simply slice through their mask, hollows will die, very simple. As you can see it's not very complicated, Yamashika said, fixing his hair. Yay, doesn't look hard. Now if you ever get patrol duty, which you probably won't because you are a high-seated officer. But for the soul burial, all you have to do is tap their foreheads with the butt of your zanpakuto, works for all of them. Yamashika explained in a teacher-like manner. He turned to the closest soul standing behind him and tapped his forehead as he explained. The man smiled before fading out of existence. Your turn. Naruto performed the soul burial on the rest of the souls waiting, sending them to Soul Society, somewhere in the Rukongai district. Now he knew why he was a special case. These people barely had any spiritual pressure. Okay Naruto, last hollow is yours. Akaku sighed as turned to Naruto. Go, Naruto, Yakiru said as she withdrew 2 little pom-poms, causing Yamashika to do a double take as to where she got them from. Naruto laughed at the girl's antics. He looked at the last hollow. Akaku, this isn't even going to be a challenge, you scared the damn thing. Sure enough, the hollow was backing away from them slowly with a slight whimpering. Naruto grumbled under his breath and walked toward the creature who continued to back away. Naruto got within striking distance and drew his sword and with a simple slash cut its mask in half, destroying it. Yaya Naruto-kun, Yakiru exclaimed, giving him a hug. That was a lot less exciting than I thought it would be. Is it always this boring? Naruto complained. Yay, pretty much it's always a simple thing like this. But that is why most higher officers stay in Soul Society as its guards. All the weaker Shinigamis can take SAR of these losers, Yamashika whined. That's why I am always looking for a fight back home. Akaku stated. Hey, maybe I can get Soi-chan to have a spar with you, Naruto said. Yamashika smirked devilishly. So it's Soi, bam, Yakiru hit him over the head. No teasing Naruto-kun, that's my job. That would be awesome, I never fought a hand-to-hand specialist before. Hey Ken-chan, Yakiru squealed as everyone turned to see their captain arrive on the scene with a sad smile on his face. I only found 1 hollow, this was a waste of my time, he complained. You get the job done and show Naruto here what to do. Yay captain, all taken care of, Yamashika reported with a mock salute, causing Kenpachi to chuckle. Alright then, Akaku, Yamashika, Yakiru, you 3 are coming back home with me. Naruto, you have a 2-week patrol duty with the local Shinigami Rukia Kuchiki. Ah, it's boring though, it's a requirement for each Shinigami. Kenpachi smiled. Have fun, HAHAHAHAHAH, as he opened the portal back to Soul Society and stepped Thora with Yakiru on his shoulder. We'll come get you when it's over, Naruto, Akaku said as he and Yumchika also walked through with a simple wave. The portal closed and Naruto sighed. Great, now I gotta find the damn local. Hell, I can't even remember her name. What was it, Ruki? Aw, forget, I'll ask her when I see her. Naruto jumped off in search of the Shinigami. After an hour of looking he felt a spirit pressure above the humans around him. Finally, it was not that long, Naruto-kun. I know Haim, but I've always been impatient, Naruto thought in his head. Yay, he couldn't stand waiting the 2 minutes for ramen. Naruto-kun, were you that impatient? Yay, but I was younger, then. Well, I believe you should talk to the girl, especially since she is standing right in front of you, Naruto-kun. What? Naruto said in his head and aloud. Rukia stood before him with her sword drawn to his throat. Naruto just looked at her before pushing the blade away with his left hand. Was that necessary? Can't you tell I'm a Shinigami? Naruto said, motioning towards his robes. Yes, I can, but you should have answered me when I asked your name. She replied. Man, are all you Kuchikis like this? Like what? She asked harshly. They all have a better than everyone else attitude. God, just like the Hyuga, Naruto sighed, causing a snicker from Kyubi. I do not have that kind of attitude. Yes, you do. I do not. Okay, well, whatever. I am supposed to be your assistant for the next 2 weeks. Is there anything exciting to do around here? Naruto asked as he scratched his head. You are my assistant, she asked. Naruto nodded with an annoyed face. Okay, well, I have been staying at the Urahara shop on the other side of town. How fast are you? She asked with a smirk. Ha, faster than you, Naruto said as walked next to her. I never caught your name. Rukia said before traveling. Naruto Uzumaki, 4th seat of the 11th division, Naruto said with a short bow. You're a 4th seat, yes, well, you don't look like it. That's fine with me, and you, Rukia Kuchiki of the 13th division, she said with a slight smile. Shall I lead the way then? Of course. A few minutes later the duo arrived at Uruhara's shop. Kazuki, Tessai, Jinta, and Ururu were seated around a table. Ah, Rukia-chan, you have returned from your patrol. Who is our guest? Kazuki asked, waving his fan around. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki of the 11th division, she said, not giving away his rank. Hello everyone, Naruto said with a bow. Ah, nice to meet you, Naruto. I take it you are the new Shinigami that has all of Soul Society talking. Uruhara asked. That would be me. I tend to have a habit of doing that. Well then, come have some tea. Would you like anything to eat? Uruhara motioned him over. I would, thank you, Naruto said politely. Tessai stood up and walked into the kitchen along with Jinta and Ururu, who had finished their meals. So Naruto, do you know the name of Uzanpoktu? Rukia asked. Yay, I know them. Them. Rukia had a confused look. What do you mean them? Naruto let out a sigh. I have 2 Zanpoktus. One is a result of something in my previous life. Their names are Shugo Tenshi and Kyubi. Kazuki smiled under his hat. My, you sound strong, Naruto-kun. I was strongest in my old life. It won't be long before I am the strongest here, Naruto said with confidence. Hee, quite a dream you have there, Rukia said, laughing. Don't worry, I can back it up, Naruto said confidently. How long did you say you have been a Shinigami? Kazuki asked from behind hid fan. 3 weeks. Impressive, 3 weeks and you already this strong. Never before has there been such quick progress in Soul Society. A black cat jumped in a window and sat down near Kazuki. Rising to the rank of a seated officer in 3 weeks. No one has ever risen that quickly. I have always been known as unpredictable, Naruto said as he eyed the cat. It returned the stare with a glare of its own. Naruto made some sort of seal then stopped. The others looked at him. Naruto took his cloak off and threw it at the cat before making the seal again. Release. A poof of smoke enveloped the cat, causing Yoruichi to take her true form. The rest of them looked at Naruto in shock. Kazuki and Yoruichi for noticing her true form. Rukia because she thought that the ex-2nd division captain was dead. I gave you that cloak for a reason, Naruto said, grinning as Yoruichi sat there with the cloak on her head. How did you notice her? Forget that, How did you force me out of that form? Not even Blondie here can do that, she asked as she put the cloak on. Like I said, I was very skilled in my previous life. He replied and thanked Tessai, who had just entered the room with the food for him. Well, would you like a spar tomorrow? Yoruichi asked. How come everyone I meet wants to test me? Naruto exclaimed. Whom else have you sparred with? Kazuki asked in his still calm manner. Some white-haired brat, Akaku and Yumshika, and Soy Fawn. And I have to fight Kenpachi in 10 days. Naruto said, sighing. Do you mean Tushiro? Rukia said in disbelief. If he is the short white-haired kid with an attitude who uses an ice dragon, then yay. Naruto took a bite out of his sandwich. The outcome: kicked that dragon's ass. Then Yamamoto ended it there. He babbled on about his Bankai, Naruto said casually. You defeated his Shikai, Rukia said again, still not believing this kid. Yep, with Kyuubi and Shugotenshi. Well, then I would say that we do not need to test you. How about I help you with some of the advanced kiddos? Kazuki said. And I could teach you some stuff as well, Yoruichi said as she leaned forward with a grin. Naruto looked at her with a raised eyebrow. HMPH, I would have to see that. I can already keep up with Soy Fawn. If I am correct, you trained her as well? He asked slyly. Yep, that would be me, fastest in all of Soul Society. Goddess of Flash Yoruichi, I guess I could learn from you, Naruto said with an even bigger smirk. Of course you would have to teach me some stuff, you know, even if it doesn't work here. Sounds fair. Excuse me, you are supposed to be helping me as well, Rukia said as she put both hands on the table. Oh right, Naruto said, waving his hand, not really caring. Well, we will have to fit that in somewhere, for now let us rest. Naruto-san, I have a spare bed for you as well. This one is on the house though, next time you have to help around the shop. Wow, really? That sounds fair, just let me know what you need me to do. This way, Naruto-san, Tessai said as he led Naruto to his room. Thanks, Tessai-san, Naruto said with a wave as he entered his room for the night. You are most welcome. Good night, Naruto-san, he said as he bowed and left the room, sliding the door closed. Naruto stretched and took off his robes. He folded them neatly and sat down on the bed with his Zanpakuto laid across his knees. How long are you going to sit there, Yoruichi? Naruto asked without moving from his position. The tan girl dropped from the ceiling in front of him in a crouched position. She eyed him curiously. You are a most interesting person, Naruto-kun. Yep, that would be me. I can tell you are as well, Yoruichi. She smiled a cheesy smile. Well, you are in the room I usually stay in. Would you like me to move? Nah, I got the bed is all, you can share if you want. Naruto opened an eye to look at the girl who jumped over him into the bed. Yoruichi smiled as she changed into a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and lay in the bed taking the covers. It seems you have a feisty one, Kit. Thank the Lord you were here to tell me that, Kyuubi, and you think I didn't notice. Well, you have been known to be stupid. Kyuubi, be nice to Naruto. You had better get into that bed before you lose the covers altogether. Naruto grumbled at the fox's remark. Night, milady, night, fox. Hey, how come, yo? Naruto cut the link and grinned as he stood up and walked over to the bed. Yoruichi turned over and looked at him. Naruto got onto his side of the bed and grabbed the covers, pulling them completely off of Yoruichi. Naruto snuggled into the blanket as if it were normal. Yoruichi grabbed another blanket and moved up against Naruto. Hey, what are you do? Night, Naruto. Pain in the ass. Naruto sat up as the sun hit his eyes through the cracks of the window. He moved his arm to sit up and he felt a weight around him. With a grumble he lifted Yoruichi's arm off him and laid it down gently as he started to roll over to get out of bed. Hey, where you going? I was having a nice dream. Well, go back to bed and enjoy it, Naruto said as he stood and stretched before getting dressed. Nah, I think we should start your training, Yoruichi said with a yawn and stretch of her own. Well, let's get going then. You up for a run? He asked as he shrugged on his cloak. Yep, be there in a minute. XXX. Each morning Naruto and Yoruichi would run around Karakura town, then they worked with Kazuki for Naruto's Kido skill. He started on the weaker ones and learned the incantations. Naruto found he was able to use the red fire without the incantation. Kyuubi said it had to do with his spirit being so strong with fire. Alright, thanks for the training. I guess I should go find Rukia. CYA later Naruto, Kazuki waved with his fan. I'll be waiting for you, Yoruichi called laughing. XXX. Naruto was traveling down the normal route he took to find Rukia for the last 8 days. He liked this town, it was quiet and seemed normal. Ah, there she is, Naruto said as he finally sensed her spiritual pressure. He altered his course slightly. His head snapped up when he felt a hollow presence appear. All right, some action, better hurry. Naruto felt his heart beat for a second when he felt Rukia's spirit pressure disappear. No, Naruto whispered as he took off even faster. He felt another pressure flare up altogether. Naruto rushed to the scene with his sword drawn to see Rukia sitting on the ground panting. An orange-haired kid he had seen before now wielded a large zanpakuto and stood facing a large hollow in front of them. Rukia seemed to have a slight wound. Ichigo, get out of here, you can't beat him. Rukia called. Do you ever shut up? Ichigo said as he took on the hollow with a large downward slash. The hollow stepped back and punched Ichigo in the face, sending him flying backwards, landing next to Rukia. Great, this thing is too fast, Rukia commented. For you two maybe, Naruto said as he jumped down in front of them. I'll take him now. Naruto, are you sure you know what you're doing? Not a clue, something about slicing its mask though, he said walking forward. Let's see if I can handle this in a battle, he raised his hand. Red fire. The red wave of energy hit the hollow head on, causing it to fall on its back. The hollow moved to get up and found it being pushed back down. Naruto held his foot on the bottom of the mask. CYA, Naruto said as he plunged his sword into its mask, killing it. Naruto walked back to the other two. So, care to tell me what happened? Naruto said as H crouched down looking at the both of the. I had to give my powers to Ichigo here, I was too injured to continue. That thing killed my mother. Did it now? Well, it's gone. And Rukia you had trouble with this week of a hollow. They both looked at the third seat with annoyed faces. Alright, well, come on, you two are training with me, Naruto said as he picked up Ichigo and threw him over his shoulder. Yoruichi, mind grabbing Rukia, Naruto yelled. The girl appeared beside him and smacked him in the head. You didn't have to yell, she said as she rubbed her ears and picked up Rukia. XXX. My, what a find. Another new trainee for us to work with, Kazuki said happily from behind his fan. Yay, they need some work, Naruto said, mind accompanying me on Rukia's patrol? I believe Kazuki can handle it. Yoruichi turned to Kazuki who nodded back. Sure, let's go, and the two jumped out the window. So Ichigo, may I see your sword? Ichigo drew his sword out of its sheath and held it in front of the hat-wearing man. Interesting, you have a large zanpakuto, even in its sealed state. Rukia, may I see yours? I can't access my spiritual energies because Ichigo has them. Well, we will have to fix that. Kazuki tapped Ichigo on the head and all of the borrowed spiritual energy returned to Rukia. Kazuki then hit Ichigo in the forehead with the tip of his cane. Ichigo felt his spiritual energy again. It seems that when you transferred your powers to him, you awoke his own. Wow, what amazing information. Let us head to the basement then, Kazuki said as he pointed his cane to the sky. Sure. XXX. I miss Naruto, Yakiru whined at the breakfast table. Don't worry, he will be back in a few days. How many left, Yamchika? Akaku said before gulping some water. 4 more days till Naruto returns from his mission. Finally, then I can finally face him, Kenpachi said as he swung his sword just above Akaku's head. Hey, watch it, just be lucky you don't have any hair, Yamchika said as he sniffled over a lock of hair in his hand that had been cut by Kenpachi. XXX. 4 days later. Finally, I'll get back to the 11th. You are leaving. Yay, sorry Yoruichi. Hey, I know I went to sleep on the floor, he said looking at the girl who just smiled and put a finger to her lips. Haha, how far have the other two gotten? Well, Ichigo has the spirit pressure of a captain but his skill with it is terrible, worse than yours. Hehe, and Kenpachi is a captain who doesn't know his sword's name. I would say his skill is around that of a seated officer, somewhere around 3rd or 4th. You mean compared to a normal squad, right? Naruto said with a smile. Yay, excluding the 11th. With you Akaku, and Yumshika all at lieutenant level, not to mention Yakiru and Kenpachi, you guys are the strongest division. Yoruichi said, causing Naruto to grin. That's excellent, and Rukia. She would be about seated officer as well, maybe 8th or 9th, she's getting better. Alright, I guess I could have a spar with Ichigo, any idea where they are? Oh yeah, they were just in here, you didn't see them leave. She said, pointing to a wall. No, I don't have any idea, I have been here with you the whole time, she said sarcastically. Okay, I'll go find them, you in? Naruto said. Naruto and Yoruichi both looked out the window. Captain level, not Ichigo's either. Naruto said as he grabbed his sword and jumped out the window. And Lieutenant, man, we have to work on your detection skills. Yoruichi said, following him. They traveled quickly on the rooftops, arriving to see Ichigo bleeding and Rukia in the arms of Renji, who was bleeding from his other arm. Yoruichi stayed hidden in the shadows. So it would seem that this hollow can replicate itself. Byakuya said. Hey Captain, it's me Naruto of the 11th, Naruto said as he drew his blade. What's going on here? Naruto asked with seriousness. Renji and Ryakuya just looked at him. They are going to execute Rukia for giving me her powers. Ichigo coughed out. Hey, she had to do it, or else she would have been killed, Naruto called. No matter, we have our orders. And you are an imposter, Naruto. Your body was found murdered in Soul Society. It was confirmed that he had died and a hollow able to replicate beings took your place. Renji informed him. I never died, I am right here. Come Renji, Byakuya said as he waked to the portal. Byakuya drew his blade as Naruto appeared in front of him with a strike. Want to wait till I say you can go? Naruto demanded. No, was the answer he got as Byakuya and Renji entered a portal that opened behind them and closed as soon as Byakuya was through. Well, damn it all, we gotta get to Soul Society, Naruto said angrily. I'll go and get the others, Ichigo said as he tried to get up only for a sandal to hit him in the back and push him down. My, there is no rush. I still have an informant in Soul Society. Rukia will not be executed for 3 months at the earliest. Alright then Ichigo, I guess I will be joining you in your class for a while, seeing how I am not going to be able to get back to Soul Society until Kazuki opens the portal. Yes, Soul Society has put up the wall and closed the gates. I can get you to Soul Society and then the rest is up to you. Come on, I'll go get you enrolled at the school, Naruto. Ichigo, Tessai will take care of you. Tomorrow we start training after school. Oh, and make sure the others come, Kazuki said as he led Naruto to the school. Tessai picked up Ichigo and slung him over his shoulder. Ah, I'm hurt, remember. Ichigo cried in pain. Nope, you will be all better soon, Tessai said in his odd voice and began to run off. Ichigo and Naruto were walking from Uruahara's shop. Both looked very similar when they had the uniforms on. They both held their briefcases over their shoulders and had somewhat of a scowl on their faces. The only difference would be Ichigo was a couple inches taller and the different hair color. Hey Chad, Ichigo said as they walked up to the tall man waiting for them. Good morning Ichigo, who is your friend? This is Naruto, he's a soul reaper like me. 2 other reapers came and took Rukia back to execute her. Ichigo explained in a calm voice. Chad just raised an eyebrow. In 2 months we are going to get her back. They won't be executing her for 3 months, so that gives us some time. Sounds like it's well thought out. Yay, that would be Naruto and Uruahara. Glad you are on our side, Naruto. Likewise Chad. Hey, so what exactly am I supposed to be doing here? I never went to a school like this. It was just a ninja school. Well, school's going to be a pain for you, Ichigo laughed. We'll help you out, don't worry, Chad voiced. Yay, we can always say that you're an idiot and they'll go easy on you, Ichigo mocked, causing Naruto and Chad to look at him. Hey, it was just a joke, Ichigo said as he waved his hand. Morning Ichigo, Orihime yelled to the approaching 3. Hey Orihime, Tatsuki, Ichigo replied. This is Naruto, new student, moved in next door to me. You got to go easy on him though, he's a bit of an idiot, Ichigo said with a snicker, deciding to go with plan B. Naruto sighed and decided to let that one go. Nice to meet you. Hey, you any good at martial arts? Tatsuki asked. Naruto raised an eyebrow and looked at Ichigo. She's really good at martial arts. I'm the only one in the whole city a match for her and I don't like to hit girls. Ichigo said defensively. Are you or just scared? Naruto replied to Ichigo. Yay, I'm decent, why want to have a spar? Hell yay, after school good. Yay, mind if we have it at Urahara's shop, Naruto said. I gotta help Ichigo and Chad too. Naruto found himself in his mindscape. Naruto, the one girl is skilled. Yay, Orihime, she's got some kind of spiritual power. No, the other girl, she has the ability to use chakra, a large source of it too. Really, I didn't notice it. Probably because you're an idiot. Hey you bast. No Naruto-kun, it is because you have exhumed yourself to spirit power, you are more familiar to the latter now. Oh, thanks Shugotenshi, no thanks to you Fox. Naruto said as he left his mind. Naruto. Naruto. Bam, Ichigo hit him over the head. What? Naruto returned the punch to Ichigo. I was talking to my Zanpakuto. Naruto not here. He whispered and everyone looked at him like he was crazy except for Tatsuki. Oh what, you never told Tatsuki? He asked. He received dumb looks in response. Okay, I'll tell her. Okay Tatsuki, this is all true, and just wait till I finish before asking questions. K. Oh, K. Naruto put a hand on Ichigo's shoulder. Ichigo is, well, he's gay. What? Get off me you homo. Ichigo swung his briefcase at Naruto's head, who ducked under it holding his side. The other just looked on with a grin at the two's antics. Okay, for real this time, Ichigo said, scowling at Naruto. Alright, Ichigo and I are soul reapers who can use a Zanpakuto. Chad here uses his spirit power to unleash devastating punches. Orihime can use her hairpins to make a shield and an attack. It's all from the use of spirit power. Oh, and Rukia is a soul reaper too. Yay, great story Naruto, she said sarcastically, not believing him. And I can shoot fire from my mouth. I can show you that, Naruto said, raising a finger as if he were a teacher. What, you are serious? She asked in disbelief. Guess you don't want me to teach you something to make you stronger, Naruto said casually as he walked by them. She thought about it for a minute. Wait, Naruto turned and smirked. Let me see your hand, Naruto said as he extended his and set his case down. This might hurt a lit. Okay, you also have a special skill that you can use. It's called chakra. It's the energy that I used to use in my previous life. It'll make you a hell of a lot stronger and you can probably come with us to rescue Rukia. Okay, close your eyes. Now feel around inside yourself. When you feel it, let me know and open your eyes. Tatsuki kept her eyes closed for a minute as the other looked on in confusion. Tatsuki opened her eyes. Okay, now make and hold this sign with your hands. Naruto moved her hands into the ram seal. Tatsuki blushed as the close contact. The new energy making her feel tingly all over. Okay, you feel it? Naruto asked and she nodded. Alright, now concentrate to move the energy to your feet. She nodded when Sei had done this step. Okay, when you make contact with your target, release all the energy. She nodded and opened her eyes and looked at Naruto. Alright now, KCIK Ichigo as hard as you can, Naruto said, stepping back. Wait, what? No. Bam, Tatsuki hit Ichigo in the side and sent him 5 feet in the air and made him roll a few times before stopping. Everyone looked on in awe. Naruto smiled. Ga, what the hell was that for? Naruto, you are so dead, Ichigo said as he got back up and held his ribs. Naruto, that was amazing. Tatsuki yelled and gave him a hug. Naruto returned it before a thought hit him. Well, the thought came after Ichigo punched him in the temple. Oh yay, Tatsuki, tell me if you can see me okay. Naruto said, rubbing his head. I can see you fine. Naruto. Yay yay, in a minute. Hey Chad, can you hold my body up? He received a nod. Naruto popped a pill in his mouth and his body slumped onto Chad's arm. Naruto stood before everyone in his black Shinigami robes and sage cloak. Hey, how did you do that? This is me as a soul reaper. Ichigo has one too. Naruto whipped out his Zanpakuto and tapped Ichigo in the head with the hilt, forcing him out of his body. Ichigo's body fell to the floor in a heap. You bastard, I am so gonna get you for that, Ichigo said and drew Zangetsu and swung at Naruto. Naruto blocked it with his own Zanpakuto. These are our Zanpakutos. Naruto parried Zangetsu and punched Ichigo in the face and jumped behind Tatsuki. You coward, come back here, Ichigo cried. Naruto pushed Tatsuki to the ground as a blue arrow sailed over his head. Naruto jumped back up. What the hell was that frequency? You could have hit Tatsuki. Ishida, he's on our side, Orihime yelled. Stop, don't Ishida, Chad yelled. Ishida, stop, he's stronger than you, stronger than me. It does not matter, Shinigami are my enemy, he said stoically. Fine bastard, Naruto said, unsheathing his Zanpakuto. Last chance, to listen to them, Ishida replied with an arrow that Naruto knocked upwards with his sword. Ishida looked around before he felt something cold on his neck. Ishida shivered when Naruto spoke. Fool, I should kill you now and rid the world of Quincy. Ishida's eyes widened at the threat. Naruto removed the blade. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, 4th seat of the 11th division, which is the strongest division of the 13 squads. Next time you attack me, you will be dealt with. Attack someone innocent and you will die before your arm can recoil from the shot, Naruto threatened. He disappeared from everyone's view. His body in Chad's arm came to life as Naruto re-entered it. I back up my warnings, Naruto said and walked off with his briefcase. Tatsuki and Orihime jogged to catch up with Naruto. Ichigo re-entered his body as Ishida walked over. Ichigo punched him in the face when he was close enough. Fool, he is on our side. I am not on your side, therefore he is not on mine. Oh, you know what, forget it, I'll just have Naruto come back and kill you, Ichigo said and walked away with Chad. Ishida pushed his glasses back up and followed. Naruto fit in easily in the class since he already had a few friends. He sat in front of Tatsuki, who kept poking him in the back, annoying him to no end. Orihime was to his right and Ichigo to his left. Ishida sat on Ichigo's left and Chad was seated behind Ichigo. Alright class, today we are going to be continuing with algebra. After a few minutes the teacher asked a question. Naruto smirked and raised his hand. His friends all looked at him, knowing he had no clue what they were talking about. Yes, Naruto. Ichigo said he knows the answer, Naruto said, causing Ichigo to pick his head up from the desk in a hurry. The others just laughed as Ichigo stuttered out an answer that was incorrect. Well, Naruto, since Ichigo does not know the answer, would you like to help him out? The teacher asked. Ichigo snapped his head over with a devil's smile on his face. 539. Naruto asked. The teacher looked at him before smiling. Correct. What? How? Ichigo sputtered. Chad and Tatsuki began to snicker, causing Naruto to as well. Ichigo was glaring a hole through Naruto, who turned around and gave Tatsuki a high five. That was payback, Naruto whispered. Oh Naruto and Ichigo, you two seem to be getting this rather quickly if you have time to talk. The teacher said, catching them whispering. Crap, shit. The group of 6 was on their way to Urahara's shop. Ah, that was much better than the Ninja Academy, Naruto said with his hands behind his head. Yay, you two make the class so much fun, Tatsuki said, grinning. It was enjoyable, Chad said in his deep voice. Hey Ishida, no hard feelings, Naruto said, looking to the Quincy, who had been silent most of the day. Ishida looked up to the grinning boy. Yay, no hard feelings, I am sorry, he said, shaking Naruto's extended hand. Great, can't have any problems within a team. Naruto, I am embarrassed, you bring home a girlfriend without telling me, Yoruichi said as she jumped down from the roof. You never told us you had a girlfriend, Kazuki said from the doorway. Yoruichi got in Tatsuki's face, inspecting her with a smile, causing her to blush. Just ignore them, Tatsuki-chan, they are crazy, Naruto said, walking by. Ichigo and Orihime giggled at their antics. Oh, it's Tatsuki-chan now, Kazuki said in his odd voice. The poor girl just blushed even more, not being able to say anything. Naruto grabbed her hand and led her inside. Urahara, Yoruichi, can you two take care of them? I'll be teaching Tatsuki something from my old life. They both mock saluted Naruto. Don't do anything I wouldn't, Yoruichi called. There's nothing you wouldn't do, Naruto called back. Yoruichi and Kazuki burst out laughing along with the rest of them. Laughter is always a great way to start anything, Kazuki said. It helps the body. Okay, Chad, you're with me. Ishida, you and Orihime are working with Tessai, Jinta and Ururu. Ichigo, you're with Kazuki. Everyone got it. Alright, let's go, we only have 2 months. Just ignore them, I think I rubbed off on them too much. Naruto said as he sat down across from Tatsuki. Okay, these are the seals used for manipulating chakra. How come you don't use it? Tatsuki asked. Well, because chakra is a combination of spiritual and physical energy. Since I have no physical body, I have no chakra. This is a temporary body, a gigai, provided by Urahara. Oh man, that sucks, she said with some concern. Yay, but don't worry, I am working on it. Back to the lesson, the seals are. All right, Chad, hit me with everything you got, Yoruichi said, taking a stance in front of him. I cannot hit a girl, Yoruichi-san, Chad said as he kept his arms at his side. Okay, then I will start. She disappeared from his line of sight and kicked his legs out from under him before sitting on his back. Trust me, Chad, you won't hurt me. I used to be a captain in the 13 squads, she said as she got up. Okay, then I just did not want to hurt you. Yada, yada, let's go, she said, charging him a little slower this time. Chad activated his arm and blocked a punch. Now it gets interesting. Tessai stood across from Ishida and Orihime in another section of Kazuki's hidden training ground. Ishida, Jinta and Ururu will be your opponents. Work on condensing your arrows more to cause more damage. He nodded and the three walked to the side a little. Okay, Orihime, please use your attacks on me. I will be helping you to strengthen and activate them quicker, Tessai said as he created an shield in front of him. Right, alright Ichigo. Release Zangetsu, and if you manage to injure me I will release mine as well. Sound fair? Kazuki baited. You bet, I always wanted to know what Zanpakuto is capable of. Ichigo called as he charged the man. That night, Naruto sat down on Ichigo's floor in a meditative position. Ichigo walked in the room and looked at him. You know, you should try to talk with Zangetsu. It will help become more in tune with him. He may even teach you something. Besides, it will only bring you closer to Bankai. Naruto finished as the outlines of Shugotenshi and Kyuubi appeared in a faded form behind him facing Ichigo. Shugotenshi smiled and Kyuubi grinned, showing his fangs. I think I will, Ichigo said, grinning as he leaned up against his wall, feeling a little scared at seeing the fangs on the old man. Very impressive, Naruto-kun. Yes, you are progressing quickly, although I think it is because of me. Yay, whatever, Kyuubi. So isn't the manifestation of you guys the key to unlocking Bankai? Yes, you are almost there, Naruto-kun. Probably during your upcoming adventure in the Soul Society will unlock it. You always did get stronger in the heat of a battle. It is what makes you unpredictable. Yay, I was always amazing. So brat, up for some practice against an old man. Bring it, old man, Naruto yelled and was smacked across the face with the side of the cane. Ichigo found himself on the side of a skyscraper. What the hell is this? This my mind? Ichigo asked, grabbing onto a window. Yes, it is, Ichigo. I was wondering if you were ever going to visit me. A voice behind him called. Ichigo turned to find a man with a cool-looking cape standing in front of him. Zangetsu. Correct, Ichigo. Would you like some tea? He said, sitting down. Sure. Zangetsu poured them both some tea. I must say that I am amazed. How so? You being around Naruto and his Zanpakutos has made you stronger. Yay, he's good. I can tell that you also wish to unlock your Bankai. Ichigo nodded. Then I suggest we get started if you wish to keep up, Zangetsu said, drawing a blade identical to Ichigo's. 5 weeks later, out of the group, Tatsuki improved the most. Naruto had taught her how to use chakra effectively as well as a few jutsu. She was able to effectively use the replacement, clone and transform techniques very good. Naruto had taught her the shadow clones but strongly advised her to use it in extreme situations only, seeing as she only had the chakra of a chunin. Naruto also taught her the basic moves of the sage fighting style. She managed to transform it into her own unique style that fitted her flexibility. Naruto at first was against it, but Tatsuki persuaded Naruto with a trip to the movies to teach her an offensive attack. So Naruto tested her affinity and found that it was wind. Naruto couldn't believe it. He taught her the cutting winds with the use of a small fan. Nowhere near as destructive as Temuri's, but it was effective against a single opponent. Naruto also told her the seals for the Wind Dragon attack as well as an attack that he created called aerial combustion. It basically exploded the air in an area directly in front of her. He decided that she needed an effective attack against someone strong. Naruto began teaching the basics of the Rasengan and was surprised when she completed the first step in 15 minutes. She was still working on the second step. After managing to slice Kazuki's arm, he showed him Benihime. After that it was a one-sided fight though, as Ichigo didn't stand a chance. After 3 weeks of training with Kazuki, Yoruichi started working on his speed. Kazuki was impressed and said that Ichigo had the abilities to beat any seated officer. Ishida was able to cause more damage with his arrows and raised his endurance a lot more. Orihime was more confident in her abilities and as such was able to use them more effectively. Chad had also improved a lot. His power increased and also unlocked his left arm of the devil. He did not unlock the second form of his right arm. While he could use it, when he did he was completely out of energy, unable to perform any attacks with either arm. As the group arrived, Kazuki and Yoruichi were waiting for them. They had a serious look on their faces and did not make any jokes when they arrived. For some reason Rukia's execution has been moved up to 2 weeks from today. Kazuki informed gravely. Therefore we need to leave today. Not only must we make it to Soul Society but must break through the wall. Yoruichi said. All right then, let's get going. Ichigo said as he dropped his briefcase excitedly. The others looked on with confidence. Very well then. Kazuki tapped the end of his cane on Ichigo's head, forcing him out of his body. He did the same to Naruto. Tatsuki looked at him with a slight blush. She always thought he was cute, but when he was in his Shinigami form he was so much hotter. Yoruichi was the only one to catch her blush but decided to save it for later. Naruto stood closest to Kazuki. He was anxious to see his family back at the 11th. Good luck my friends. Please be careful, Kazuki said and slashed Benihime through the air, opening a portal. Yoruichi transformed into her cat form and jumped onto Naruto's shoulder. Everyone stick together. If you fall behind you will be stuck forever. Kazuki informed as they entered the portal. They began their sprint through the tunnel. Naruto led the group and the others were awed by his speed. To them it felt like they were running against a hard wind. He looked back and noticed that the 2 girls were having trouble. Yoruichi led the way. She nodded and jumped ahead, still in her cat form. Naruto fell to the back and grabbed Tatsuki and Orihime's hands and helped them along. They smiled as he helped them along. Just touching his hand gave them energy and made the resistance fade away. I wouldn't want to lose you too, he said as he gave Tatsuki's hand a squeeze. She smiled back and gripped his hand harder, causing Naruto to grin. They landed outside the portal in a group. Orihime let go of his hand as she caught up to the rest of the group. Tatsuki didn't want to let go, so when Naruto looked to her she jogged ahead, this time pulling Naruto, who lost his footing at first. The group was led through the districts of Rukongai by Yoruichi, who knew the way. There are only 2 ways to enter the Soul Society now that the walls have come down. The first is to try and get one of the guardians to open the gate they guard, and the other is Kakaku's cannon. Well, the cannon sounds much more fun, Naruto joked as he put his hands behind his head. Yes, it is more dangerous, however in order to use it we would have to learn a simple technique to use it. This would cost us about a day. So we are going to try one of the guardians first, she explained. They ran for another 10 minutes before arriving at a portion of the wall that was a different color. They approached with caution. Halt, you do not have authorization to enter through the gate. Jidanbu's voice boomed out. All right then, how about if I beat you, then will you open the gate? Ichigo yelled back. Agreed. Jidanbu drew his twin axes and attacked first. Ichigo stepped to the side and chopped the one axe off from its handle. How dare you, my precious axe, Jidanbu cried as he attacked again with his last remaining axe. Again the process was the same. Jidanbu slashed downwards and Ichigo sliced the axe from its handle. Ichigo jumped to Jidanbu's face and smashed the hilt into his forehead. Jidanbu stumbled backwards and Ichigo landed on his throat with Zangetsu poised to kill. I win, Jidanbu. Yes you did, and I shall let you through the gate. Jidanbu turned and began to lift the gate. Nice work, Ichigo, Naruto said, patting him on the shoulder. Thanks. When Jidanbu had lifted the gate high enough, they were surprised to see someone waiting for them. Captain Jin, Naruto said warily. Ah, the Hollow knows my name, he replied. I am no Hollow Captain, Naruto said angrily. Why it tries to defend itself? No matter. Jidanbu, you were not told to open the gate. They defeated me, Captain, I had to. No, you should have died, just as you all will now. Shoot to kill Shinso, Jin cried as his Zanpakuto zoomed toward them. The blade knocked into Ichigo, sending him flying into the arms of Chad. Jidanbu was next to fall to the swinging blade. Jin sliced off an arm in the process. He kept his creepy smile as he sent the blade toward Orihime and Tatsuki. Naruto sliced downwards and forced Shinso to hit the ground. Jin was forced to pull Shinso back as the gate was closing, as well as an arrow just missing him courtesy of Ishida. Jidanbu, Orihime cried as she ran over to the large man. Chad, can you bring his arm back over here? She asked. He nodded and placed the appendage next to the shoulder. Twin heavenly returning shield and orange glow encompassed the wound and began mending it. All right, it seems that they already know of our presence, Yoruichi said. I guess it means we are going to use the cannon. Naruto asked excitedly. Yes, Naruto, as soon as Orihime is done we will travel to Kukaku's. Okay, all done, Orihime said, standing up. Just be sure not to use it too much yet. Thank you, Orihime, he said as he moved his arm to his side. I hope to see you again. You too, Jidanbu, Shicl led back as she caught up to the rest of the group. Shiba Kukaku's house. Yoruichi transformed into her human form and knocked on the door. Naruto yelled at her before throwing his cloak to her to use a temporary dress. She smiled back. Ganju opened the door. Yoruichi, what a surprise to see you. It has been a while since I've been here. Yes, you haven't kept in touch like you said you would, Kukaku called as she entered the scene. Why did you bring Soul Reapers to my place? Kakao demanded. Ichigo is a substitute Soul Reaper and this is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, 4th seat of the 11th. The order has been given that he was killed in the land of the living, which is untrue. We are here to rescue Rukia by means of your cannon if possible. Kakao remained silent for a minute before smiling. Of course, but first a dinner in honor of Yoruichi's return. Come in everyone. She led them to a large room where they all had a large dinner. Now since everyone is well fed and ready to go, there is a technique needed to use the cannon. She went on to explain the process. It has been 3 hours and everyone except Naruto and Ichigo got the technique down. They are trying so hard to get this done, Orihime said. Yay, I can't believe that the 2 strongest haven't gotten this down yet, Tatsuki said, raising her voice so they could hear her. They both looked over angrily before returning to their task. Pain in the ass, girls, Ichigo grumbled, causing Naruto to laugh and falter slightly. There, got it, Ichigo exclaimed as he completed the process. Oh, me too, I had it done a while ago. Naruto showed him by holding it in one hand. Wait, then why did you wait for me? To help you by having something to aim for, Naruto informed as he laid down next to Tatsuki. Ichigo went to tell Kakao that they finished. Orihime got up to follow. So how did I do, Tatsuki-chan? Naruto asked. I thought you were done, I had a feeling you were up to something. Oh really now? Perception. That is a great skill to have, especially for a ninja. Yay, I think I will be better at this ninja business than you were. I hope so, Naruto said, thinking back to his defeat at the hands of Sasuke. What's the matter, Naruto-kun? Naruto shook his head. Just remembering how I died. Her face lightened a little, but still kept her look. Did it hurt? Yay, but it wasn't from dying, it was more from watching my 2 precious people leave with my body. Well, tell me about them, Tatsuki said as she lay down beside him to look at the ceiling. They were 2 of the strongest ninja to ever come from my village. 13 days until Rukia's execution. Rise and shine, everyone, Kukaku said as she yelled, causing everyone to wake up in a hurry. She looked around the room. Where are Naruto and Tatsuki? Yoruichi and Kukaku entered the training room, as everyone else got ready. They found Tatsuki asleep with her head on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto lay on his back with his cloak thrown over the both of them. Would you like the honors, Yoruichi? Kukaku said as she tossed her a camera. They all stood near the base of the cannon. Kukaku came and opened a small hatch near the bottom and ushered them inside. They all heard her yell, "Good luck, from outside. Now remember, everyone here should be able to compete with a seated officer. Ichigo, you can probably handle a lieutenant, Kakaku started explaining. If you see an old man with white hair, do not engage him. He is the Commander General of Soul Society. The strongest, Kakaku started. Actually, if you see him, just surrender. He will show mercy, but he will not let you escape. Naruto corrected. Everyone stick together. When the cannon fires, there is a chance that we may split apart from each other. Yoruichi commanded as she dug her claws into Chad's shoulder. I'll take Tatsuki. Ichigo, you take care of the rest of them. Where are you going? Ichigo asked, confused. To get some lunch, Naruto replied with a grin. What are yo? 2, 1, fire. The cannon launched and the group was sent flying in the air. As soon as they left the cannon, the force started to spread them apart. Hold tight, Yoruichi commanded. Naruto grabbed hold of Tatsuki as he held the technique with one hand. As soon as we hit the shield, grab onto someone. The force is going to scatter us. The ball of energy neared the shield and smacked into it. A second later it penetrated the shield in a dazzling display of light. Ichigo grabbed Ishida and Orihime. Chad made to grab for Ishida's arm but missed when the force started to spread them farther away. You go with him, Ichigo said as he tossed Ishida in the direction Chad was drifting. Tatsuki had her arms securely around Naruto as they fell to the ground. An old man opened an eye to the sky as he saw the fireworks display in the sky. Sound an alarm that intruders have entered Soul Society. Hunt them down and capture them alive, Yamamoto commanded. Yes, sir, an officer said as he rushed off to broadcast the message. Sarutobi, you seem to have an unusually happy grin on your face. Do you sense something? To tell you the truth, Captain, I feel Naruto-kun's energy. I told you that he could not have died so easily, he said with joy. Remember, it could be the hollow that Captain Kuchiki saw when arresting Rukia. I will, sir, but I doubt it, Sarutobi said as he left the office building. Naruto sat up and rubbed his head. He could tell he had a small lump. You okay, Tatsuki-chan? Yay, I'm fine. Alright, let's get going. We landed near the 12th division, only be a minute to the 11th. Naruto exclaimed as he took off running. You make it, Chad. Yes, I am fine. Which direction should we head? I would say that we find an opponent and ask them. Good idea, Ishida said as he left running in a direction. Stop intruders, a Shinigami commanded as he and a few others surrounded Ichigo and Orihime. Bug off, I don't have time for you. Would anyone know where we could find Rukia Kuchiki? Orihime asked gently. Like we would tell you. I told you that wouldn't work, Ichigo said as he drew Zangetsu and charged swinging. Stop it, Yakiru, get off my head. Akaku complained as Yakiru was drawing on his head. Your head makes a good drawing board, she replied. Captain, do you think that we should heed the alarm? Yumchika asked as he sipped his tea. Kenpachi sighed. Yay, but there wasn't anyone worth fighting. Yakiru stopped drawing on Akaku to look at her captain. Is Kenny still upset that he didn't get to fight Naruto? Yakiru asked. Kenpachi looked up at her with a smirk. I was, but not anymore. Why no? Ooh, Yakiru said, changing up her sentence in the middle. Kenpachi stood and drew his blade as someone entered the door. I knew you were alive, Yakiru said, tackling Naruto to the ground. See, that seal you gave me on my arm is still here, Yakiru said as she pulled up on her sleeve, showing a simple circle on her arm. Yay, someone trapped me in the real world on my mission. I couldn't make a portal back here. Sounds like you've been used as bait, Kenpachi said. Oh Naruto, who is your friend outside the door? Akaku asked. Oh yay, hey Tatsuki-chan, come on in, it's safe now, Naruto said, as he looked to Kenpachi, whose grin got even bigger. Tatsuki entered the 11th division with a shy look. She looked around at the imposing figures. Nice to meet you, I'm Yakiru, the vice captain said from in front of her. Tatsuki looked to where she was and where she was currently standing. You'll get used to it. She's really fast, Yumchika said as he stood up. This is Yumchika, 5th seat of the 11th. Naruto started with his introductions. Nice to meet you, Tatsuki. Baldy over there is Akaku, 3rd seat. Hey, he yelled at Naruto. The beautiful girl in front of you is our vice captain Yakiru. The small girl smiled at the newcomer. And the huge man is Kenpachi, our captain. Nice to meet you, little lady, Kenpachi said as he drew his sword and swung it at her. Tatsuki rolled to the side. What the hell was that for? She yelled. Ha ha ha, I see you chose a good one, Naruto. She would definitely fit in here, Kenpachi laughed. Naruto smacked his head. Anyway, Yumchika, do you have an extra pair of clothes that she could wear? Her school outfit isn't really for here. Certainly. Yumchika walked over to a wall and slid open a compartment. He pointed Tatsuki to a changing area. So what is the problem, Naruto? Kenpachi said, sitting down. Okay, while I was with Rukia for the mission, she had to give her powers to a human or else she would have died. That is where Ichigo comes in. He has as much spirit pressure as you, Kenpachi. The man smiled and grinned. All right. So Captain Kuchiki and Renji came to get her back to be executed. I tried to stop them but they fled. Apparently someone had said that I was dead and a hollow had taken my place. So I trained a few new friends to come here and rescue Rukia. Okay, so what are we going to do? Akaku asked. Tatsuki re-entered the room at this point wearing an outfit similar to Yakiru's but bigger. Well, the rest of them are going to try and rescue Rukia right away because none of them would listen to me. And I know that Kenpachi wants to fight Ichigo. Akaku, if you and Yumchika could help me and Tatsuki get the rest of them and bring them here to the 11th until the day of the execution to make our move. Great plan, Naruto. Akaku, you and Yumchika help Naruto. Kenpachi said, turning to Yakiru. Will you stay with Naruto's girlfriend and keep her safe? Yes, sir. Naruto and Tatsuki tried to voice an opposition but Kenpachi beat them to it. Okay, I'll meet everyone back here tonight, he said, running out of the building in a hurry. So your girl Fr. Don't even start. Come on. Naruto silenced a grinning Akaku and took off in another direction. Ichigo had defeated all of the unseated Shinigami who had tried to subdue them. He had managed to find out Rukia's location in the top tower and that was where he and Orihime were headed. Ichigo grabbed Orihime and jumped to the side as Kenpachi landed where they were standing previously. Zaraki Kenpachi, captain of the 11th division, he said, raising his sword to Ichigo. Crap, Orihime. Run, try to find the others, I'll stall him, Ichigo said. That won't be necessary, girl. Naruto wants me to bring you two back to our division tonight anyway. As long as you give me a good fight, that is, Kenpachi offered. Ichigo thought about it for a minute. I've got to rescue Rukia. God, Naruto said you were stubborn but this is ridiculous. Fine, then you still will have to get past me. Kenpachi said, attacking. My Quincy. You would make an excellent specimen, the 12th division captain said, looking at Ishida. Nemu, you take care of the other human. Nemu nodded and charged Chad, giving him a punch that surprised him with its strength. He then activated both his arms and engaged the vice captain. You weren't kidding when you said that Ichigo had as much spiritual pressure as Kenpachi, Akaku said as they stood on a roof. Yay, he is strong but an idiot when it comes to using his sword, he is getting better. I am hoping faster than you did, Naruto, or else he won't even be able to cut Kenpachi, Yumchika pointed out. He'll be fine, come on, let's head to the other two. Ichigo sliced horizontally and Kenpachi blocked it with a grin. He pushed Ichigo back and grabbed the front of his robes and threw him into a wall. Come now, Naruto said, you were stronger than this. I am. Ichigo coughed as he struggled to stand up. Sure doesn't look like it, Kenpachi teased. Ah. Ichigo got up and attacked with renewed energy. There it is, Kenpachi blocked a strike. There is the power I wanted to fight. Kenpachi parried but Ichigo ducked and cut him across his left side. Ha ha ha. Kenpachi began an onslaught of vicious swings that Ichigo countered and dodged like an expert. Ishida had just destroyed Kuretsuchi's Bankai with the release of his bracer. Nemu had stopped fighting to run after her captain was defeated. They were strong, Chad admitted, panting. That girl was a good opponent. I had an advantage in strength, but her speed outclassed me. Very well, let us continue, Chad said, righting himself. Ishida slumped against the wall. I am out of energy, I cannot go on. I will wait then, Chad said as he also sat down against a wall. No, you should continue on. It is always better to fight at full strength. But we are low on time here, Ishida urged. Geez, you Quincy are a pain, Yumchika said from above them. Both Ryoka stood up quickly. Hey, we aren't here to fight. Besides, you have 13 days until you have to make a move. What's the rush? Akaku added. Besides, Yachiru wouldn't let you, Tatsuki said as she jumped next to Akaku in her Shinigami attire. Yep. Naruto gave an order, and I like it, so just listen, Yachiru said from in front of Akaku with her hand raised dramatically. Tatsuki. What are you doing? They're the enemy, Ishida exclaimed. Akaku and Yachiru looked around. Where? The Shinigami, and why are you dressed like one? Chad explained. Oh, these Yamchika gave me. Aren't they great? She said, posing. Ishida raised his arm and drew an arrow. Akaku and Yamchika raised their eyebrows. Yachiru appeared in midair in front of Ishida and kicked him in the face, sending him into the wall, making a crater. Chad looked at the little girl who smiled up at him. Hi, my name is Yachiru, she said, extending his hand. Chad, he said as he shook the little girl's hand. So who are you exactly? Yachiru Kujashiti, vice captain of the 11th division. That's Akaku and Yamchika. You guys are in Naruto's division? Yay, that's what Baldy tried to explain before the Quincy guy got all mad. Yachiru said in a little kid voice. Naruto had us come look for you guys. He wants to wait until the day of the execution to rescue Rukia. Tatsuki said as she jumped down and nudged Ishida in the stomach. Okay, then what shall we do? Chad asked. You are coming back to the 11th with us, Akaku said as he picked up Ishida. Okay. A large flare of energy shot up in two large pillars near the edge of the walls. That's Ken-chan. Come on, Tatsuki-chan and Yamchika, Yachiru said as she jumped off with Tatsuki and Yamchika. Oh sure, leave me with them, I didn't want to fight or anything. Akaku screamed at Yachiru. Would you like to go after them? Chad asked gently. Nah. Akaku breathed deeply and regained his composure. That energy release means that Kenpachi took off his eye patch. The fight is probably over anyway. All right, this way. Akaku jumped off with Ishida over his back. Kenpachi swung downward and Ichigo blocked it. Kenpachi pulled his blade back and swung again, catching him on his chest. Both of them sported numerous wounds, although Kenpachi's were worse. I think I only got enough for one more attack, Ichigo panted. Kenpachi frowned. Already? What do you mean already? We've been fighting for 20 minutes. Whatever, Kenpachi said and assumed a stance waiting for Ichigo. Ichigo readied himself after speaking with Zangetsu. An outline of your Zanpakuto. Amazing, you are nearing Bankai. Kenpachi grinned even more. Come then, Ichigo Kurosaki. Kenpachi started the charge and Ichigo followed suit. Both competitors stood where their opponent started. Ichigo had blood fly out of a wound on his shoulder before collapsing in a heap. Good match, kid, Kenpachi said as he looked at his cracked Zanpakuto. He too then fell to the ground in a heap. The others arrived on the scene a few minutes later. Wow, it looks like Kenpachi lost, Yamchika said. Almost, he said, sitting up, shocking everyone but Yachiru. He is strong, massive spirit pressure. Even cracked Ran Mayaku here. Yamchika and Yachiru looked at him with surprise. Tatsuki had no idea what was going on and Kenpachi was confused. Hey Ken-chan, Yachiru stuttered before hugging him. What's the occasion, Yachiru? He asked, wincing from the pressure on his wounds. Captain, you just said the name of your Zanpakuto. Yamchika squealed like a girl. Kenpachi looked back at his sword and felt a pulse. He smiled as he felt it pulse again. Kenpachi jumped to his feet and let out a roar of excitement that was heard all over Soul Society. Yachiru just smiled from his shoulder as she wiped some blood off her. Humph, now Akaku and Naruto are going to be even more annoyed. Yamchika said, crossing his arms. Don't tell anyone yet, I'll release it when I need to. Want to keep it a surprise, you know, Kenpachi said, ignoring the pain he was in from his wounds. Arg, Gra Huzu, Kenpachi choked, spitting out blood. Okay, back to headquarters for you, Yachiru said as she hoisted Kenpachi on her shoulder and started walking with his feet dragging. Yachiru, I'm fine. No, Ken-chan. Yamchika just looked at Tatsuki and Orihime. What? He's all dirty. I'm not touching him. Yamchika, be a man for once. Kenpachi called back. Arg, damn it, he said before hoisting Ichigo to a comfortable position. Where's Akaku when you need him? Naruto turned and put his back against a wall. He peered around a corner as he looked on at Captain Aizen and Captain Jin from far away. He was hoping that they hadn't sensed him yet. Are all the plans ready? As ready as they can be, was Jin's witty reply. Then it will commence as scheduled on the day of Rukia's execution. Shall I inform Tucson as well? Jin asked. No, I will take care of it. Ah, we will finally have the Hogyuko, Jin said casually. Naruto's eyes widened. He had heard that name before and knew it was important but had no clue what it was. Naruto cursed himself for his stupidity. That slight slip had caused him to unmask his presence the slightest. It seems we have an intruder, Aizen said walking towards Naruto. Shoot to kill Shinso. Naruto jumped up as Jin's spear came through the wall where his head had been. Naruto drew his sword and waited. I could tell that there was something wrong with you two as soon as I got here, Naruto replied. Well, it seems you overheard a part of our conversation. You need to die, Aizen said as he too drew his sword. Sing to the, Naruto rolled to the right as Jin's blade tore up the ground where he stood leaving a large slash. Aizen appeared in front of him with his blade poised to kill. Naruto's eyes widened and he moved as fast as he could. Impressive. That strike was meant for your heart. You managed to turn the slightest prolonging your life, Aizen remarked as he stood with his sword through Naruto's chest just above his heart. Go, to, hell, Gragig. Jin's blade was now through Naruto's back and out through his right lung. Blood was already spewing forth from the wounds forming a puddle under him. Naruto-kun, you must stay alive. I'm trying. Do not go to sleep. I cannot help you if you fall unconscious. Naruto opened his eyes to see Shugotenshi kneeling with her hands on his chest. He looked up to see Kyuubi looking down at him. I thought you were better than this. Do not disappoint me. Hey, I don't plan on dying again. Kyuubi smirked. Naruto looked up at Aizen with a snarl. Aizen's eyes widened when he saw Naruto's red eyes. I am full of surprises, Naruto said as he lifted his blade and moved to impale Aizen. He swatted the blade away effortlessly. I am again surprised with the effort, Aizen said withdrawing his blade as did Jin. Naruto fell to his knees in an upright position. The ground under Naruto was now a circle of blood. Goodbye. Aizen swung his blade at Naruto's right shoulder, slashing diagonally. It stopped above his heart again. Aizen and Jin both raised their eyebrows. Aizen withdrew his blade and used the end of his sword to move Naruto's robe aside. An odd hollow mask was cracked where Aizen's strike had hit it. A hollow? Jin asked. Time to go, Jin. Now, Aizen commanded as they leapt off in a hurry using Shunpo. Naruto started to fall to the floor but was caught by small arms. Are you okay, Naruto-chan? Yakiru asked with watery eyes. Kenpachi landed next to them with his yellow spirit pressure leaking off him. Naruto smiled when he saw them. Kenpachi looked off in the direction the two captains had left. He then scanned the area for any other signs of danger. Naruto noticed Kenpachi bleeding pretty badly. He wondered how he was even moving but then saw his eye patch in his free hand. Thanks guys, Naruto said as he passed out. Come on Yakiru, Kenpachi said grabbing Naruto by the back of his robes and jumping off leaving a crater. Yakiru followed leaving a smaller one beside Kenpachi's. Home sweet home, Akaku said as he entered the main doors. He dropped Ishida on a mat on the floor and walked to a sliding door hidden in the wall. He withdrew a jar of ointment. Here, this will help him, Akaku said as he tossed Chad the ointment. Thanks, Chad said as he began applying the ointment. Yamashika entered the room and set Ichigo down. Orihime sat down and got to work. Twin heavenly returning shield, Akaku be on guard, Yamashika said seriously. Akaku got up and drew his sword and stood ready next to his partner. What's up? Kenpachi was gravely injured from his fight with Ichigo. Yakiru had even told him not to walk back on his own. That bad huh? Yay. But halfway back Kenpachi tore off his eye patch and took off with Yakiru with a concerned look on his face. Yakiru was even a little sad. Akaku said as they looked out the door. Tatsuki stood next to them. What could have caused him to do that with those injuries? Someone he cares about must have been hurt, Akaku said. Since Akaku and I were fine and Yakiru was with him, that leaves only one other person, Yamashika said sternly. Naruto, she said as a tear crept down her face. She stopped it with a sniffle. Yumchika put his arm around her in a hug. Here they come, Akaku stated. He and Yumchika ran out the door to the porch to await. Yakiru zoomed by them. Orihime, you need to help Naruto, she ordered. Where is he? She began. Kenpachi stood with an unconscious Naruto in his arms. Naruto's head was hanging down and blood was falling in constant drips. Kenpachi set him down gently and took off his robes. Yakiru already had some ointment in her hands and rubbed it on the wounds. Twin heavenly returning shield. Akaku started to close the doors and windows as Yumchika lit a bunch of candles. Yakiru had switched to Ichigo and had put the ointment on any of his wounds that were still bleeding. What happened? Tatsuki said, kneeling beside Orihime. I haven't a clue, Kenpachi said, looking at Naruto. But I thought Naruto was strong, Tatsuki continued with sobs. He is, that's why we went to him, Yakiru added. There was 2 captain-level people leaving the area before we got there. Ken-chan here, Yakiru said, handing him the jar of ointment. I'm all right, he replied. What if they come back? She said, getting his attention. Humph, fine, he said, putting his eye patch back on and wincing for a second as the pain returned to him. He began applying Akaku's ointment as he sat against a wall. You two are in charge, no one enters and no one leaves, he ordered. Then there was a knock on the door. Akaku and Yumchika had their backs against either side of the door. Kenpachi was up again to open the door. He opened it to see a cat. Who the hell are you? That's Yoruichi, she can turn into a cat, Tatsuki said. Everyone looked at Tatsuki and then at Yoruichi. Okay, what should I do then? Get a litter box? Kenpachi said, annoyed. Oh, do you have a robe for her? Tatsuki exclaimed, finally figuring out why she hadn't transformed. Here, Yakiru handed her an extra from the wall closet. Tatsuki held it up over the cat and Yoruichi appeared inside the robe and turned her arms to fit it. What happened? She asked, looking at Ichigo and Naruto. He was attacked by 2 captains. Which ones we don't know, Kenpachi said, slouching down against the wall again as Akaku locked the door and sat with his back against it. Yumchika went to get food. Damn, who could have done this? Not many. There would have had to been lieutenant or captain level. And we can't tell who from these wounds. They were done with a normal blade. So it could be anybody. We will just have to wait till he wakes up, Yakiru informed he. What's that? Yoruichi said, grabbing Naruto's mask. Don't know, it was on him when we found him. Looks like it saved him. Kenpachi said from against the wall. This isn't good, Yoruichi said. Okay, enough talking, they need to rest. Yakiru said with a little nurse hat on. Everyone looked at her wondering where she got it from. 12 days until Rukia's execution. Ra, where am I? Ichigo, you're awake, Orihime said, giving him a hug. Ichigo looked down to see a bunch of bandages around his chest. About time you woke up, Akaku said. You, Ichigo said as he reached for Zangetsu laying beside him. Ichigo, Kenpachi called from a corner with his Zanpakuto leaned up against his right shoulder. You too, what is this place? He asked again. Yoruichi slapped him in the back of the head. These people are on our side. Everyone is fine, Ishida informed, sipping tea next to Yumchika. Turns out they had a lot in common. Ichigo looked around and saw Chad leaning against a wall near Akaku. Yakiru and Tatsuki were asleep in another corner of the room sharing a blanket. He turned some more and found Naruto lying on his back with a blanket over him, not moving. What happened? Attacked by 2 powerful people, don't know who. Now rest up Tomorrow, you and I start training. It will only be 3 days, Yoruichi said. What training? Something that you will need in order to beat Byakuya, Kenpachi added with eyes still closed. Why would I need to fight him? Because we aren't doing anything more until the day of the execution. Yoruichi said. All the rest of Soul Society is out and about looking for you guys. Here you can just wait, Kenpachi called. Here's the plan. 9 days until Rukia's execution. Ichigo was fighting off Zangetsu already exhausted. Yoruichi looked on solemnly and checked her watch and frowned. A crackle was heard in the air and a voice came next. The execution of Rukia Kuchiki has been moved up to tomorrow at 12 o'clock. That is all. Ichigo looked up with fear. Time to end it, Zangetsu. Can you back that up? Later that night, a glass of water was placed in his hand. He swallowed it down with haste. Aw, thanks Yakiru. Finally up, Kenpachi said, walking over. Yay, how did I survive? Orihime healed you in Ichigo, Akaku pointed out as he too stood and stretched. So what happened? Kenpachi asked, concerned. Aizen, Jin and Tusen, Naruto said solemnly. Kenpachi's eyes widened before he grinned. Good, that makes it interesting. Especially since they moved the execution to tomorrow, Yamashika said as he entered the room. Already? Yay, we have a plan, Yamashika kept going before he was cut off. Just make sure you are in top shape, you're with me, Kenpachi said, grinning. We have to stop them, Naruto said, getting nods from everyone. Day of Rukia Kuchiki's execution. Kenpachi opened the doors of the 11th Division with a serious look. Yakiru, Tatsuki, Naruto, Akaku, Yamashika, Chad, Orihime, and Ishida stood beside him. Alright, you guys head for the execution grounds, help out there, I am sure that is where Ichigo and Yoruichi will go, Kenpachi said as he started walking forward. Okay Ken-chan, Yakiru said happily as she began to leave in one direction, followed by Orihime, Chad, and Ishida. Stay alive guys, Naruto called. Tatsuki gave him a hug and whispered into his ear. You too. Alright, let's go cause some trouble, Kenpachi grinned, tapping Ran Mayaku on his shoulder. Rukia looked up as the door to her cell opened. Rukia Kuchiki, it is time, the guard said. She stood and walked towards them and they placed a restraint around her neck. I have committed a crime. She walked over the bridge connecting the tower. Her head towards the ground the entire walk. This is my punishment. The guards looked at her. I accept it with no remorse. Naruto was walking next to Kenpachi on a rooftop. Are you sure they will come this way? Naruto asked. Yes, this is the easiest way to the execution grounds, Kenpachi grinned. I am itching for a fight. Hopefully it will cause me to release my Bankai, Naruto said, jittery. Hehe, Ran Mayaku here is going crazy, Kenpachi said as he held his blade in front of him. Yay, I can feel its pulse from here. They are coming, Kenpachi noticed. Be careful Tatsuki, Kenpachi commanded. If the fight gets too intense, move out of harm's way. Hey, I'm not that useless, she protested. Tatsuki-chan, against captains it is a whole different ball game, Naruto said, concerned. Kenpachi, what are you doing with the Ryokas? What does it look like? I'm helping them, he replied happily without a care. That is a crime, Saijin yelled, drawing his sword. You shall be dealt with, Tusen said as he drew Suzumushi. Iba and Hisagi jumped in front of their captains. Please allow us to go first, Iba asked and received 2 nods. They jumped and turned forward to charge. A blade stopped both of them in their charges. Ah, you two aren't worthy to fight our captain, Akaku said, tapping his sheath on his shoulder as his blade stopped Iba's. Yamashika was also stopping Hisagi's attack. You have to beat us first, he chimed in his girly voice. Akaku, aren't you a 3rd seat, and Naruto a 4th seat? Iba asked, trying to insult him. Yay, but he's stronger than me. He is the one who doesn't want to challenge me for the seat. Besides, I love kicking you ass, Akaku laughed. Alright, get out of here, Kenpachi called. Oops, looks like we got to go or else our captain might get us too, mind if we move off? Yamashika asked. He received a grunt in reply. Akaku, Yamashika, Iba and Hisagi all disappeared to fight other elsewhere. You are going to stand against us with a 4th seat and a Ryoka? Saijin asked. Yay, I would let Naruto here handle you, but my blade wants to have some excitement. You think too highly of yourself, Tusen admitted and took a stance, as did Saijin. Which one do you want, Captain? Naruto smiled, drawing his blade. Tatsuki-chan, you should back up now. Okay Naruto-kun, let's let them decide, Kenpachi decided as he readied himself. Tusen charged first and Naruto parried with a smirk. Guess I have him then. Good, I'll take the big guy, Kenpachi said, dashing off to engage Saijin. Naruto slashed sideways and Tusen jumped back. Suzumushi was on a downward slash and Naruto moved backwards out of the way. Sing Suzumushi. Tusen moved a little faster and caught Naruto on the shoulder. Naruto swung with his sword and Tusen ducked. Naruto shot his arm out and caught the back of his head and kneed him in the forehead, sending him back with a stumble. You have a most impressive fighting style, Naruto. I know, it's awesome, Naruto said, jumping in the air. Fool! Tusen swung his blade, shooting out blades at Naruto. Ah, that was dumb, Naruto said as he pulled two blades out of him. One in his shoulder where he had been hit and the other in his left leg. This is something I learned from Kenpachi. No pain. Sing to the heavens. Shugotenshi. Roar down through hell. Kyuubi. Naruto now stood with his short sword and round shield. Now the fight begins. Kenpachi was attacking wildly. Each swing forced Saijin backwards as he blocked it. Come now. I thought you would at least be somewhere near me in terms of strength. Kenpachi swung a little harder this time and forced Saijin in the air. You area most surprising, Captain Zaraki. But unlike you, I can utilize my Zanpakuto, he teased as a massive explosion occurred, engulfing the area in smoke. Kokujuten Jinmyo. The armored giant now stood behind Saijin. I would like to see you match my strength now, Saijin yelled as he swung his blade down and the giant mimicked it. Kenpachi swung upward, meeting the giant's blade. It was a stalemate for a second before Kenpachi moved to the side to let the blade crash through the ceiling. It seems you barely have me beat, Kenpachi admitted. Hey Naruto, here it comes, he yelled. Naruto pushed Tusen back and flipped all the way back near Tatsuki to watch. Spread to the ends of the earth, ran Myaku. Kenpachi's blade pulsed a black burst of energy. The blade itself darkened slightly as yellow Ryutsu gathered around the blade and Kenpachi. He laughed as he reached up and removed his eye patch. Saijin looked at his opponent with a hint of fear. This crazy bastard knows his sword's name now. You and your giant ready, big guy, Kenpachi said as his sword was enveloped with a black light. Rukia was being led to the Sokyuko. The wind gently ruffled her hair. Clouds hovered in the sky, none of them blocking out the sun. She looked around at the faces of those gathered. Captain Yamamoto, and Vice Captain Sarutobi. Soi Fong and Omaeda. Unohana and Azane. Byakuya by himself. Shunsui and Nanao. Tushiro and Rangaku. No one from the 11th was here to see her end. She was glad that no one from the 12th Division showed up. But she was sad that no one from the 13th had showed up either. She looked up at the destructive halberd in front of her. This is my fate. Let the execution begin, Yamamoto said softly but strong. A chorus of "Hi" echoed as they began the unsealing of the Suyoko. A box shot to each of Rukia's hands and one to her feet. They moved her upwards to the top of the altar. Rukia could now see the blade of her killer. A large wave of spiritual energy flooded the area, as the great Zanpakuto was unsealed. It gathered to form a great phoenix made of fire. Each of those gathered looked up as the giant bird hovered in front of Rukia. It let out a tremendous cry and began to move towards Rukia. Here, these are the stairs that lead to the execution grounds. Yakiru pointed as she bounced on her feet, waiting for the others to catch up. They made it as a group and all stood panting. Hey, where do you think you are going? A new voice asked. To rescue Rukia, Chad replied calmly. Are you now? Yay, want to come, Renji? We don't have much time, the execution has already started, Yakiru said, jogging up the steps. Sure, I had that on my agenda today anyway, he joked as he joined the group. Closing square bracket, the execution has begun. Really? What gave it away? A bloodied Naruto asked. Tusen was indeed worthy of the title of captain. Naruto had two large cuts crisscrossing on his back. Naruto smiled though as he looked at his opponent. Tusen had removed his outer robes because Naruto had managed to catch Tusen across the chest with his shield, giving him a deep wound. Seems you are pretty good. I wonder if I would have won if I had achieved Bankai, Naruto asked to himself. It would not have mattered. You have no chance of beating me. That was a lucky hit. I was unaware that your shield was able to inflict damage as well as repel it. Excuses, excuses. I need to end this. Naruto cut him off. Naruto took a stance with his shield in front of him, protecting him. His blade pointed away from his enemy. Unleash your fury upon our foes. Naruto waved his sword forward in a large but fast arc. It ignited with flame as soon as it began to swing forward. Naruto unleashed a wave of fire that transformed into a fox with 9 flowing tails that began running for Tusen. Tusen swung Suzumushi at the fox, releasing some more spikes. The spikes went right through the fox. Tusen dodged the fox and turned to see that the fox shifted in its charge again, heading for Tusen. Wave of blue fire. The beam hit the fox and they cancelled each other out. When it cleared, Naruto looked for Tusen but couldn't find him. Damn it, he escaped. Naruto cursed as he turned to see that Kenpachi was looking at him as well. Naruto walked over to him. Yours run off too. Yay. So soon as I got serious, Naruto complained. Yay, I busted Saijin's Bankai and he ran off as well. How strong is Ran Mayaku? Naruto asked. Let's just say it's like taking off my eye patch. Kenpachi grinned, causing Naruto to chuckle. Alright, shall we head to the execution grounds? Let's hurry. First take care of those wounds on your back, Tatsuki ordered as she began walking back over to them. Wow, forgot about them, Naruto said as he started to take off his cloak. He felt energy enter his range. He immediately started moving towards Tatsuki as he drew his blade. Tusen appeared behind her and then disappeared using Shunpo. Naruto moved to follow but Jin interfered with his Zanpakuto, causing Naruto to lose Tusen's direction. Jin gave a light smile before he too disappeared. Captain, we have to find them. Naruto shouted. To the Sukyu Hill, that is where all of this will come to an end. Besides, if Aizen wants to escape, he's gonna go that way. Kenpachi said gruffly. Naruto turned and started to move but was stopped by Kenpachi. Your wounds. I don't have time, foe. It's an order, Kenpachi replied with a grin, causing Naruto to frown back at him. Huh, they started. Come on, we still have a ways to go. Yakiru yelled from a flight above the others. Yakiru, we are pacing ourselves. Ishida scolded. We are only halfway there, Chad said, looking over the edge of one of the balconies. The captains looked up as the phoenix was stopped in front of Rukia. Yamamoto asked. Shunsui grinned as he tilted his hat down. Perfect. The Tsukyoko reared back for a second attack. Ichigo, look out, Rukia yelled. Ichigo ignored her and readied himself. Yukataki just arrived and slammed his shield down as 2 ropes shot out of the shield. Shunsui landed next to him and stabbed his sword into the shield, pouring his energy into as well. Stop them, they are going to destroy Sokyuko. Soi Fan shouted. Sarutobi and Yamamoto looked on in silence, too late for them to do anything. Just as Hitsugaya started to move, the phoenix wailed in pain before exploding. They destroyed it, Soi Fan said to no one in particular. Everyone in attendance stood watching as the remaining embers faded into nothingness. The captains looked at Shunsui and Yukataki, who smiled back with their vice captains. You two have committed a major crime, Yamamoto stated with a loud voice. Ah, old man Yama, it had to be done, Shunsui tried to reason. Silence. Ichigo looked at the commotion below him. He then looked over to a distant tree line. Damn, where are the others? Right now it's just me and Yoruichi, gotta stall some more. Ichigo twirled his sword above his head as he started to gather his energy. The officers looked up at the pressure. Ichigo smashed Zangetsu into the altar, creating an explosion below him. After a few tense moments, the smoke cleared enough and everyone saw Rukia being held by Ichigo. Hey, told you I could do it, Ichigo chimed. You idiot, now what do you plan on doing? Rukia asked. Just wait, they are on their way, Ichigo said back to Rukia as all of the captains looked up at him. See, there's the support group, Ichigo said as Renji, Chad, Ishida, Orihime and Yakiru arrived on the scene. Hey Renji, catch, Ichigo said as he threw Rukia towards him. The captains raised their eyebrows as the girl soared through the air. Renji caught her and the others made a defensive circle around him. Can you stand, Rukia? Yay, I am fine. Renji set her down and stood in front of her. Stop them, all vice captains, Soi Fan ordered. The vice captains all looked to their captains for approval. After receiving nods, they took off. The vice captains neared the retreating defensive line. Ichigo appeared in front of them all and stuck his sword in the ground. He punched through Omada's Shikai and sent him flying backwards. Ichigo swept Azane's legs out from under her and turned and hit Rangaku in the gut. Sarutobi started to walk forward after his fellow vice captain's defeat, but someone beat him to it. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow at the captain's movements. I was wondering what else would happen before you attacked. Ichigo taunted as he vied for dominance against Byakuya. We must settle this, Yamamoto said as he started to walk towards Shunsui and Yukitake. Okay old man Yama. Nanao go head over with the Ryokas. They are on our side for now, Shunsui ordered. Yukitake nodded to his 2/3 seats as well. Soi Fan watched as they disappeared and moved towards the Ryokas. You are all going to be killed, Soi Fan stated. Orihime moved to the side to let a blur speed through and grab Soi Fan and head off another side of the cliff. Yamamoto raised an eyebrow as he turned his head slightly. Unless my old age deceives me, that was Yoruichi Shiohan, Yamamoto said. I would say the same thing, except I am not that old, Shunsui added. Just what is going on here? Yamamoto asked. It seems something more than what we had planned. Yukitake pointed out. Shall we begin then? Yamamoto said as he unleashed his Zanpakuto, creating a wave of fire that moved to encompass all in an inescapable dome. Now what do you plan on doing? Byakuya asked as he pushed Ichigo away and looked at the wall of fire surrounding everyone. Beating you is all I have to do. Even if that did happen, what would you do about the other captains? Tushiro asked, joining Byakuya. I don't know actually, I was given my part. Ichigo sliced towards Byakuya, who activated his Shikai, knocking Ichigo back. As soon as he hit the ground he was forced to roll to the side as Tushiro's dragon came crashing down where he fell. Great, I can't fight two captains at once, Ichigo whined. Guess I have no choice. Ichigo raised his blade towards the two captains and gave them a smirk. Bankai, Shunsui and Yukitake had released their Zanpakutos and stood across from Yamamoto. Come on old man Yama, I don't want to fight, how about some sake? Shunsui tried to bargain. Silence, I told you not to speak, he said harshly. Sarutobi dropped his pipe from his mouth to his hand. Burn brightly Enma. Sarutobi's pipe transformed into a staff. It was the same shape and size as the one he used in life but a little different. It was now a little thinner in diameter. The ends each sported a blade that faced in a different direction, allowing it to be swung both ways. What made it unique was it was covered in dancing flames, a darker hue than Yamamoto's. A blocked strike from Byakuya sent Ichigo into a turnaround slash that Byakuya ducked under. Ichigo was completely outclassing Byakuya in speed, but he was able to keep up somewhat because of his experience. Come on Byakuya, you're getting slow, Ichigo taunted as he began running around Byakuya and Tushiro at tremendous speeds, causing afterimages. The two captains stood back to back looking around them for the real one. He is incredibly fast, Tushiro said with a boring voice. It seems, he has gotten better than our last engagement. You're right, I have, Ichigo said, appearing above them. He slashed downwards and both captains moved back and charged again. Ichigo moved towards Byakuya and parried his sword back and ducked under Tushiro's strike. He rolled again and jumped up, dodging a set of slashes. Ichigo moved back a couple of feet. Getsuga Tensho. Tushiro and Byakuya each moved to the sides and surveyed the damage. A large slash mark was left in the ground. Ah damn, I was only supposed to fight one captain. It's gonna be a pain fighting you both, Ichigo said, taking off again. Ichigo dodged Tushiro's dragon and moved towards Byakuya. A wave of sakura petals interrupted his charge. They surrounded him and Ichigo moved fast and blocked all of the hidden blades. Impossible. Hiranmara came soaring down from above with a roar. Ichigo looked at it with a smile. Getsuga Tensho. Ichigo's attack hit the dragon head on and dented its head a little. Ice spread to cover the wound and you couldn't tell that it had been hit. Damn, where the hell are they? Ichigo asked himself as he jumped backwards and landed in a heap. I will handle these two. Sarutobi, if you would take care of the Ryokas, Yamamoto calmly asked, seeing how Soi Fan was no longer here. Yes, Captain. Do you want them alive or dead? Alive if possible. Hi. Sarutobi jumped off away from the battle and towards the Ryoka. Damn, one is heading this way, Ishida said as he readied himself along with Chad and the vice captains. Hello children. It would be easy if you just surrendered to me, Sarutobi asked, leaning on his staff. Not gonna happen, old man, Renji called, lashing out with Zabumaru. Sarutobi held up his staff and knocked Zabumaru to the side. Renji sent it forth again and the old Hokage knocked it to the ground this time and stuck the blade of his staff straight through Zabumaru, keeping it in place. Sarutobi leaned on the staff again. I do not wish to harm any of you. It would be easiest if you just surrendered to me, Sarutobi said again. This time it was Ishida who attacked. He let an arrow fly and Sarutobi simply moved to the other side of his staff, still leaning on it. Another arrow sped toward him and Sarutobi held up his hand. White lightning. The attacks cancelled out each other. Once again, it would be best to surrender, Sarutobi said, withdrawing his staff from Zabumaru. Renji called it back and it reverted to its sealed stage. That's not going. We surrender, Chad said, causing Sarutobi to smile. The others looked at Chad with a confused look. Why would? Very well then, you are all my prisoners. Please stay where you are or I will be forced to attack you, he said as he turned to watch the other fights. Of course, Nanao said with a grin. Huh, Yakiru said, turning to Nanao. He wanted us to surrender so that there wouldn't be any fighting. Oh, thank you, Yakiru said with a wave, causing Sarutobi to turn back and smile. I am a very peaceful old man. Ichigo spun to the side as the dragon narrowly missed him and soared forward. He had to lean back as a swarm of Senbon Sakura just missed his face. Damn, Ichigo said as there was a break in the action. Byakuya and Tushiro stood across from him with their own scowls on their faces. There is no hope left for you, Tushiro called as his dragon moved to hover behind him. Accept your fate, Byakuya added as he held his hand up to attack. Toshihiro raised an eyebrow. Up until this point Byakuya had been standing still. The attack of Sakura leaves took off much faster this time and caught Ichigo's leg. He managed to slice through them and move back a little more. As you can see, when I use my hands to control them they are twice as fast. Yay, I noticed. Pretty cool trick, but I've seen better, Ichigo replied with his attitude. Goodbye Kurosaki Ichigo, Tushiro said as the dragon took off in an arc towards Ichigo as Byakuya surrounded him with waves of leaves. Getsuga Tensho. The Sakura petals scattered and let the attack go harmlessly through them. They began to descend in their deadly arc. Fox fire. Everyone looked to the southern part of the fiery entrapment. There seemed to be a struggle with the wall of flame. It exploded inwards toward the competitors who all shielded themselves. Ah, they started without us, Kenpachi said as he rested his sword on his shoulder, as did Ikaku with his staff. Yumshika walked in while fixing his hair. Ichigo, I thought you would do better, Naruto said from in front of him with his shield raised. Another captain has turned on Soul Society. This is unacceptable, Sarutobi take Kenpachi, Yamamoto said as he grew even angrier, the fire around him growing. Shunsui and Yukitaki stood confidently with their 4 swords poised to defend. Wait, Gramps, there is more going on here than what it seems. Aizen, Chusen and Jin are the traitors. They are coming after Rukia for something Urahara Kazuki created, Naruto said, standing up from his crouch. It's true. The 2 bastards almost killed Naruto before Yakiru and I arrived, Kenpachi added, covering for his officer. Trust me, old man, Naruto said. Sarutobi looked at him for a second and locked eyed with his adopted grandson. He huffed and rested his staff back on the ground. Yamamoto looked at his vice captain with anger. Well, this is a great party it seems, but all things must come to an end, a voice sounded as the blazing fortress withered out from another attack on it. By the time the voice was located, Rukia was missing again. Aizen now stood with Rukia in one arm and a green slime covering the other. Jin held Tatsuki over his shoulder. Tosuin stood before them as the sentinel. Aizen began the unsealing as another voice echoed over the air. Attention Soul Society. This is Captain Unohana Retsu, captain of the 4th Division. Central 46 has been murdered by Aizen Sausk. I repeat, Aizen Sausk has murdered Central 46. So it is you 3 who are the traitors, Yamamoto sighed to himself. Instantly everyone turned on them. Aizen had finished and tossed Rukia aside as he looked at a small object in his hands. The Hogyuko, he said, showing it to everyone. Let go of Tatsuki, Naruto growled. Kenpachi looked at his subordinate and saw a slight red aura leaking off him with trails of white. That will not be happening. She possesses unique skills that would be useful to my plans, Aizen replied, and Jin smiled greatly. Naruto grew angrier even as Kenpachi put a hand on his shoulder. For those of you who don't know, this object allows me to break the barrier between Hollow and Shinigami. I will use it to create an army and then defeat Soul Society, he further explained. Let us be leaving then. Shoot to kill Shinso, Jin cried and swung his blade behind him. The quickly approaching Yoruichi and Sofan jumped back and looked at them. A hole opened in the sky and everyone except Aizen, Jin and Tusen looked up. Manos began to reach through towards Soul Society but stopped when they were halfway through. 3 beams of light shot down and enveloped the traitorous captains. We will be seeing each other shortly, he said as they began to ascend towards the portal. No, Tatsuki, Naruto cried. That is a barrier used by Manos to protect their own. Once inside it you cannot be touched. It is unbreakable, Yamamoto said in a hushed voice that everyone could hear. Kenpachi rushed towards the beam. A black trail of energy leaking from his sword. A maniacal grin on his face. He met the beam with a 2-handed strike right in front of Aizen. He was repelled with great force and the front portion of him was smoking from burns. That barrier is unbreakable, Yamamoto said, angry that someone had tried to attack the barrier. Naruto fell to his knees with tears streaming down his face. Stop your crying, brat. Shut the hell up, Kyuubi. There is nothing I can do to save her. Naruto yelled back at the demon. He knew who it was as soon as he started to speak. You should have been more aware of your surroundings. He barked as he raised his cane. They were just better than me, Naruto started out yelling but then finished with a whisper. Exactly. It is time to truly shine. And show out power. Even here in the afterlife, Kyuubi said with a grin, exposing his fangs as Shugotenshi stood with her hands folded as if praying. You had better win. Do your best, Naruto-kun. Naruto was still on his knees. Bankai, he said softly but was still heard by those around him. A white energy burst from his back as a red fireball covered him, forcing those close to him to jump backwards. Aizen, Jin and Tusen stopped in their ascent to watch. The fireball raged as it circled Naruto with a fierce roar. It began to spin faster and faster before it withered out. Naruto now stood with black armor over his chest and shoulders. A red cross in the middle of his chest. White shin guards and boots protected his legs. On his hands were 2 blue gloves that stretched to his elbows. On the front and back side of his left palm are 2 white pieces of metal. His right hand held a small wakizashi whose blades was a maroon red. A red chain reached from the end of the wakizashi to the side of the palm on Naruto's right glove. Naruto looked up towards Aizen as multiple tendrils of white energy sprouted from his shoulder blades and took the forms of wings. Tyrael from Diablo, Sarutobi raised an eyebrow as he felt a familiar energy. Demonic Reaper Kyuubi, Divine Shugotenshi. Naruto announced the names of his released soul cutters before attacking. The wings stretched and flapped strongly, shooting Naruto towards Jin. Naruto reared his sword back and stabbed the barrier. The barrier pulsed as Naruto held onto it, the sword disrupting its flow. Naruto reached back with his left hand as bluish-white energy covered it. His hand shot forward and completely bypassed the barrier and punched Jin in the face. Naruto quickly grabbed Tatsuki as Jin recovered from the unexpected strike. Naruto screamed in pain as his arm burned from the energy covering Tatsuki now instead of his arm. Naruto gave a yell as he pulled Tatsuki through the barrier. Naruto fell backwards with Tatsuki in his arm before his wings flapped and Naruto righted himself. He flew back to the ground and placed Tatsuki down by Kenpachi. Naruto turned back to the now furious Aizen. He sheathed his sword in an upside-down sheath on his back, the chain released from the end of the sword and hung from his right hand. Hey Gramps, here is the strongest attack in all of Konoha. Naruto yelled to everyone as he made a familiar cross-shaped seal. 2 more Narutos appeared in a puff of smoke. They held their hands slightly back. A dull roar could be heard as blue chakra began to gather in their hands. Rasengan, Sarutobi whispered and almost let the staff fall. Better, Naruto replied as the wind element was added. The 2 clones jumped toward Aizen and Jin. The attacks met the beam head-on and caused it to crack some. The clones were destroyed in the blast. We must hurry, Aizen said as they took off at an accelerated pace than before. Come back here, you bastards. Naruto yelled at the fleeing targets as he gathered a Rasen shuriken in his own hand. This time Naruto threw it at Jin and it spun rapidly as it left his hand. Once again it impacted on the barrier and it cracked again. My turn, Kenpachi called as he was up again with his sword. He jumped towards the crack in the barrier and reared back. Chaos wave. A black wave smashed against the barrier again. Kenpachi was flung back from the blast this time with a grin as blood fell from the giant of a man. The barrier cried before shattering into pieces that looked like glass. Jin and Aizen's eyes widened as Jin turned and took off towards the portal at an accelerated rate. A screech was heard throughout all of Soul Society as 10 Manos Grande stretched the portal and jumped through. No hollow has ever stepped foot in Soul Society, it shall not happen now. Yamamoto drew his sword. Everyone else readied themselves. I hope this works, Naruto said as he crouched low with one knee touching the ground. Everyone get back, Sarutobi called. The gathered looked at Naruto as they felt a gathering of energy. Everyone jumped back a little ways but stayed at the ready. Summoning technique. 3 giant puffs of smoke erupted around Naruto in a line causing a large shockwave that blew the air backwards. Yamamoto raised an eyebrow as the pressure in the air grew tremendously in one go. The captains held their hats and shielded their eyes as a giant gust of wind blew over them. Sarutobi was smiling the most he had since coming here. Toad Lord Inferno. 3 giant toads stood with their cheeks swelled as Naruto held a hand in front of his face. 3 sprays of oil shot out towards the Manos as Naruto ignited it. They screamed in pain as they began to evaporate. The captains used their cloaks to cover themselves from the heat as Orihime put up a barrier. 9 of the Manos were destroyed in the devastating firestorm but one made it through and was headed straight for Naruto. Don't let him reach the ground, Naruto called. A tremendous shockwave rippled the area as the Toad Lords leapt into action. Gamaiken swung upward with his staff sending him into the air. Water cannonball. Gamabunta shot the great sphere of water that hit the Manos right in the chest. Gamahiro jumped up and swung with both swords taking off his head. The Manos' head fell to the side with a blank look on its face. The body dissipated into the wind. Naruto sighed and fell backwards. Gamabunta flipped his head forward and tossed Naruto into the air. He quickly reached out with his tongue and wrapped his summoner up and brought him close to his face. 2 giant eyes stared at Naruto. One webbed hand reached up and removed the pipe from his mouth. Where are we? How are you here? I saw you limp dead in Jiraiya's arm. You did have a hole clear through you with blood falling. I know, damn Sasuke bastard. I am dead, boss. Bunta, Gamahiro and Gamaiken looked around as they studied the people there. And they are? Gamahiro asked with a croak following. Shinigami. They are like the ninja of our world. They keep the order, Naruto answered. The 3 toads nodded. If you are dead then how can you summon us? You shouldn't have any chakra. I don't, this is all Kyuubi's, Naruto replied. Haha, Gamabunta laughed out. The Shinigami as well as the other toads looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Even in death that blasted fox is still trapped. I guess Minato's seal really works then. Yes, he's actually the spirit of one of my Zanpakutos. Naruto said raising his blade to show the toad boss. He could tell this sword radiated chakra of the foulest extent. Alright kid, time for us to go. Naruto looked down at Bunta's eyes. So what's going on back home? A war is about to start. What? Who, where? Hehe, you have your own matters to attend to here. If things get bad Tatsu will come and get you. Thanks boss, Naruto said. He turned to the gathered Shinigami. Gamaiken, the said toad bowed before returning to his world. Naruto turned to his left. Gamahiro, the toad croaked and he too left. And the Toad King Gamabunta, Naruto said pointing behind him. Bunta grunted before he too left. Naruto fell to the ground with a practiced ease having done that many times before. Naruto landed in a heap and transferred to a sitting position. He looked over at Kenpachi who was on his back with Yakiru standing at his side. He was grinning as Azane worked on him. The other Shinigami walked closer so that they could hear. They got away, Naruto said. Don't worry, we'll get them, he replied. And next time I think I might have to take some of the fun, Yakiru said as she swung her little sword above her head. Then there wouldn't be any for me, Kenpachi said annoyed. You can have mine, Naruto said grinning as he fell to his back and reverted to his normal form. Hey, don't forget us, Akaku said as he and Yamashika now stood behind Yakiru. Tatsuki, who was now awake but still groggily, was helped over to Naruto by Orihime and she fell on top of Naruto in an awkward hug. Whoa, don't forget the rest of the divisions. Renji barked. Don't worry, the 11th can handle it, wouldn't want anyone getting dirty. Kenpachi said, raising one arm with Ran Myaku in it. Yakiru knocked his hand back to the ground and scolded him. Yamamoto tapped his cane on the ground. Everyone stopped laughing and looked towards their general. It seems that we have all been fooled by these traitors. We must stay on a high alert. With the loss of 3 captains and numerous injured, Soul Society is at its weakest in many years. Everyone nodded as he said this. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Naruto sat up straight and looked at Yamamoto. You did exceptionally well today. With the release of your Bankai you now have the qualities needed to become a captain. Naruto looked at him with a shocked look. The other captains smiled at Naruto's fortune. No thanks, was his quick and blunt reply. Everyone except those of the 11th looked at him confused. Kenpachi held a hand over his mouth trying to stifle his laughter. Maybe in a few more years or something, but for now I'm staying right where I am, Naruto said confidently. Yamamoto opened his eyes and looked at the young Shinigami for a few seconds. Kenpachi burst out laughing, unable to control himself. Very well then, since you are so determined in your answer we will wait until you are ready. Yamamoto turned and began to walk away. There will be a captain's meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Good work Naruto, Shunsui said, placing a hand on his head. Impressive Bankai, you have there, Yukitake said as he walked by. Thanks, Naruto replied grinning. I am amazed Naruto that you are able to use chakra here in the afterlife. It will sure give you an edge over everyone. Yay it will. Hey wait, you can teach me some jutsu right? Sarutobi thought about it for a minute. I guess I could, but it would only be the hand seals and what I remembered. I can't perform the jutsu anymore. Thanks Gramps, Naruto said, closing his eyes, imagining all he could do. The various other captains each gave their words and left to return to their barracks. Alright, let's head home. Naruto leaned up out of his bed with a yawn. He looked around expecting to see someone rooming with him. Wonder where Ichigo went. Naruto stood and got dressed and geared up as he began to stumble to the kitchen. Move over you bald-headed freak. Out of the way Strawberry. Naruto looked down the hallway to see Ichigo and Akaku trying to shove past each other to be the first to the kitchen. Morning Naruto, Orihime and Tatsuki called from behind Ichigo and Akaku. Good morning. Bam, crash, rip. Ichigo and Akaku were now on top of each other on the floor. Hey Yakiru. Yakiru bounded over them and made sure to step on their heads. She landed next to Naruto and grabbed his hand, pulling him along. Orihime and Tatsuki also walked over them. Ow, she's strong, Ichigo grumbled from under Akaku. Yay, good morning Akaku. Ichigo, Yamashika said as he tiptoed around the two on the floor. Chad and Ishida followed suit, and avoided the downed Shinigami. Will you get off me now? Ichigo growled. What you think I like being in this position? Akaku yelled back as he began to wrestle again with Ichigo. Will you two get a room? They both immediately stopped and looked up at Kenpachi, who looked at them with a confused look. Kenpachi just sighed and kicked them both toward the kitchen, where they rolled and landed by the table. The others, who were already eating, looked up and then continued eating. Guess Kenpachi found them, Naruto said, taking a piece of bacon from the platter. Yakiru reached over and swiped the piece of bacon from Naruto and ate it with a grin. Naruto looked back at the little vice captain, who beamed right back at Naruto. There was one piece of bacon left on the plate. Naruto and Yakiru were staring at each other. Naruto moved first and Yakiru followed right after and hit the plate first. They both looked closer at noticing the bacon was gone. They looked up as Tatsuki munched on it with a smile. That was Minnie, Yakiru whined, causing everyone to look at her. Tatsuki stopped chewing and looked at the vice captain with a confused look. Oh hush Yakiru-chan, I brought more, Yamashika said as he set down a whole platter in front of the little girl and another in the middle of the table. Yay, she cried, causing everyone to chuckle. Alright, as much fun as this week has been, it's time for you humans to return to your world. Kenpachi said, setting down his cleared plate. We wouldn't want to fall behind in school, Orihime said in a scholarly way. You know I might ask for patrol duty for that area again. It was fun there, Naruto said thinking. A knock at the door was heard and Ikaku got up to answer it as it was flung open in his face. Yoruichi walked in with a smile. Ready to go guys? She asked and everyone nodded and got up. The Ryoka stood in front of Yamamoto who wore a grandfatherly smile. The other captains were gathered as well as a few lieutenants. It seems that we are in your debt for your help with this fiasco. You will always be welcome back as long as you don't cause any problems. He finished with a grin. Yukitake stepped forward. Ichigo Kurosaki. He withdrew a badge from his pocket. This badge signifies you as a substitute Shinigami. It will also allow you to release your Soul Reaper form from your body. Ichigo hung the badge at his waist. Thanks a lot. The rest of you all have your own unique powers. Use them well. We may need your assistance in the future, Yamamoto said as Yukitake opened the portal that would lead them back to Karakura. Everyone said their goodbyes and started to walk through the portal. Tatsuki gave Naruto a hug. I hope you come visit, she said looking up at him slightly. I will, trust me, I do. She leaned up and kissed him on the cheek. Naruto smiled and took the necklace from Tsunade and put it around Tatsuki's neck. This was from my granny back home. Keep it safe for me. Thank you Naruto-kun. Tatsuki gave him another hug. A flash went off and they both looked up to see Yakiru sitting on Kenpachi's shoulder with a camera. They both grinned. Alright, see you Naruto-kun, Tatsuki called as she caught up to the others who had already left to go home. The portal closed and everyone began to walk away. Yakiru appeared in front of Naruto. Good picture Naruto. I am going to make a really big one, she said stretching her arms for an example. Hee thanks. Oh and Naruto, Yakiru said as she ran over to Yamamoto. Yay, it's time to fight Ken-chan, she called with a wave. Naruto gulped and rolled to the side as Kenpachi's sword occupied his previous position. Right now, Naruto pleaded. Don't tell me you are afraid, he exclaimed and began swinging his wildly coordinated attacks. Of Yakiru maybe, not you, he teased causing Kenpachi to grin. He swung down and Naruto swung upwards blocking and parried Kenpachi to the side. Naruto reached forward to grab him but he was punched away by Kenpachi's free hand. Naruto rolled on the ground and then flipped to a standing position. Naruto pointed the katana forward. Sing to the heavens, Shugotenshi. Roar down through hell, Kyuubi. Naruto now adorned his sword and shield and stood across from his captain. Naruto's short sword glowed as the fire of Kyuubi swirled around it. Spread to the ends of the earth, ran Myaku. Kenpachi's blade now pulsed with black energy as it leaked from the sword. The captains looked in amazement at Kenpachi's sword. It gave off an aura of death that seemed to chill them to the bone. They met in a ball of black and red. Kenpachi spun and swung down. Naruto raised his shield and moved towards Kenpachi with his short sword scraping the ground. Kyuubi met flesh as he sliced him in the chest. When the blade had moved above his shoulder, Kenpachi ran Myaku towards him and trapped Naruto with his shield pressing into his back. Kenpachi grabbed him by the head and tossed him into the air. Better watch out. Chaos wave. The pitch-black crescent moon flew towards Naruto who dangled in the air. He maneuvered his shield below him. Tenrai Koken. A wall of water extended from the sides of the shield and blocked Kenpachi's attack. Fox fire. A bluish-orange ball of flame raced towards Kenpachi who grinned in his normal madman way. He moved his free hand to his sword and gripped it with both hands. The captains caught the action and wondered on its result. Yamamoto grinned. He knew that Kenpachi would need this technique. Chaos wave. The black energy sliced the fireball in two with no resistance as it sailed towards Naruto at a speed much greater than the first one. An explosion occurred where Naruto once stood in the air. Summoning jutsu. Kenpachi and the other captains wondered at what would come forth. A small metal object landed in front of Kenpachi. He looked up to see many more of them coming down. He never moved though as they all landed harmlessly around him in a large circle. Kunai. Yakiru shouted and pointed as she jumped on Yamamoto's shoulder. This is the strongest attack in the ninja world. Sarutobi called. 10 Narutos descended in his Bankai form. Kenpachi grinned as he began to dispatch the clones one by one. Kenpachi sliced the last clone and stood wondering where Naruto is. Don't tell me you have become a coward. He taunted. No, just preparing, he said as he walked into everyone's view. He reached to his back and pulled out his wakizashi. It pulsed red energy off of it in a rhythm. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm still getting the hang of it. Naruto explained. Naruto stood straight and his ethereal wings tightened. Flying Thunder God. Naruto blurred away with a black remainder of light. He appeared under Kenpachi and punched him in chest. Kenpachi swung and hit air. Naruto kicked him in the back and Kenpachi swung again. That speed is amazing, Soifan commented. It seems he is very fast, Yamamoto said. Kenpachi was taking a beating and reached out with one hand and grabbed Naruto's leg. He threw him to the ground where he landed in a crater and a cough. Kenpachi swung down and Naruto grabbed Ranmyaku with his left hand as the white plates glowed, contrasting Ranmyaku's black aura. Naruto rolled slightly and let the blade crash into the ground next to him. Kenpachi swung again, but Naruto was already gone. Kenpachi stood up straight. You asked for it, Naruto. Naruto stood across from him, panting heavily. How so? Kenpachi grinned and looked back at Yamamoto. I could use some help. Yamamoto and the other captains raised their eyes as Kenpachi looked at the general. Naruto skid back past Kenpachi with an oomph. Kenpachi smiled down as Yakiru stood on Kenpachi's shoulder with her Zanpakuto drawn. I get to fight, yay, the little girl squealed. All of the other captains were watching with interest because they had never seen little Ichiru fight before. She disappeared from Kenpachi's shoulder and moved to kick Naruto in the back. Naruto blurred away using the Flying Thunder God and threw his hands up to block a strike from Yakiru. She landed on the ground and then kicked out at Naruto, who was already gone. Damn, you are fast, Yakiru, Naruto panted as he stood behind Kenpachi, who grinned at his daughter. I hope you aren't done, Naruto, she said with a frown. He and Yakiru disappeared and were met in the middle with their Zanpakutos locked in combat. Kenpachi arrived and swung down at Naruto. His left hand grabbed Yakiru's blade as Naruto spun and blocked Ranmyaku with Kyuubi. Naruto continued in his twirl and smashed Yakiru into Kenpachi's stomach. They both flew back with a grunt while Yakiru got right back up. This might hurt a little, Captain, Naruto called as Kenpachi was already charging him. Fox fire. The blast of fire met Kenpachi head on and caused no damage. When Kenpachi cleared the smoke, he saw Naruto had moved back and sheathed his sword. He was now moving his hands fast and in an odd manner. Aerial combustion. Kenpachi flew back hard. He felt as if the gravity around him had multiplied a hell of a lot in that short amount of time. Naruto ducked as Yakiru appeared ready to kick Naruto's face. He turned to the side as a thrust from Yakiru cut his chest. Naruto spun away from Yakiru. Mass shadow clone. The area became engulfed in black and white as hundreds of Narutos now stood opposing them. Many pops could be heard as Yakiru was sprinting around and dispersing the clones at a ridiculous pace. Kenpachi reached up and tore off his eye patch. The sudden burst of energy destroyed all the clones. Wow, he's good, Ken-chan, Yakiru said as she stood next to her captain. Yay, now where did he go? He grunted. Everyone but Kenpachi and Yakiru noticed the sudden appearance of the captain of the 12th Division. Where did he run off to now? Kenpachi said, angry. You must have scared him with your looks. Kurosachi called. Kenpachi looked over his shoulder to glare at the captain insulting him. Sarutobi was the only one who caught on. It seems he must not think of you as a good use of time, he taunted more. Yakiru kicked him in the face only to have him disappear in a poof of smoke. Huh, I thought I kicked the weird man, she said with a finger to her mouth. Naruto appeared behind Kenpachi by use of the Flying Thunder God and stabbed Kenpachi in the back. He turned quickly and grasped Naruto in his hand. It seems you are out of energy. I guess we have to work on that. Yay, I never expected Yakiru to be as fast as the Flying Thunder God. Naruto said with pants of exhaustion. You done? Kenpachi asked. Not yet. Naruto twirled and kicked himself free of Kenpachi's grip. Yakiru appeared and kicked him straight up. Chaos wave. Naruto cursed as he was hit full force with the blast from Kenpachi. He fell back to the ground in a heap of limbs. Naruto stood up. He fell back to one knee as his wings hovered behind him. Is that enough, Caption? Naruto asked. Kenpachi looked at Naruto with a serious face. For now I guess it is. Naruto immediately fell back while reverting back to normal. Yakiru was at his side in an instant. She poked him in the tummy. Is he dead? She asked. No, just exhausted, Kenpachi said. Oh, let's go back to the barracks, Kenpachi said as he hefted Naruto over his shoulder. Akaku and Yumshika followed right behind Kenpachi on the right or left. Yakiru appeared on Kenpachi's other shoulder. That concludes our show. Until next time, she yelled while waving and giving a bow. The other chuckled at the girls' antics before they took return to their bases, all thinking about Naruto. A mighty woman walked towards the edge of the tower. A podium set in front of her. Below stood many people. Behind her and hidden from view a large man sighed as he walked away. She walked right to the edge. War has been declared. XXX. Ichigo walked down the street towards his school. He felt alone. No longer was the loudmouth blonde kid walking with him. The two of them were known throughout the school as the toughest kids and no one messed with them or their friends. He wondered what it would be like now that Naruto was gone. Of course the others were strong in their own right, but there was those without powers who could be harmed. He stopped and looked up at the sky. I hope you come back. Me too, Chad said, joining him in looking to the sky. He said he would, so don't worry, Chad comforted as he continued his walk. Ichigo was seated across from the seat now occupied by Rukia. She had moved from the back of the class and taken Naruto's spot for the past 2 months. Everyone came in and sat down. Ichigo could hear the whispers of Naruto's whereabouts. The teacher strolled into the classroom merrily like she did every day. Good morning, class, she announced, and immediately noticed the absence of Naruto. Well, it seems we will finally be able to get some work done now. Some students laughed while a small few knew that he probably wouldn't be back in the class ever. In Soul Society 2 people hurried through a portal. 3 others walked away grinning, all for the same reason. They would have peace and quiet, for a while at least. It seems that within a month's time, the armies of our enemies will be upon us. Our best ninja are out protecting our allies from the sand in their trek here. Ichigo was twirling his pencil. He couldn't concentrate at all. He turned and saw that Tatsuki had her head down and her eyes were a little red. He guessed that she was crying through the night. It was now that Ichigo finally noticed the necklace around her neck. Tatsuki noticed Ichigo staring and smiled at him. Don't worry, he'll come back, Ichigo whispered. Even though the village hidden in the sands has been destroyed, many of their populace has escaped, over 95%. They are on their way here. This is where we will make our stand. Ichigo was now tapping his pencil in annoyance as he had just answered a question incorrectly. He gave the answer of cheese to an algebra question, not really feeling like learning today. A knock at the door had him awake in a second. Everyone was glad for an interruption. The teacher who had been in the back of the classroom answered, coming, as she walked towards the door. OWW, stop it sis. Get off. Bam. Go in already. I can't leave you running around. Bam. The door splintered just before the teacher could open it. A student seemed to be underneath the remains of the door. Oh my God, are you okay? The teacher asked. He's fine, he just doesn't want me to kick his butt anymore, a short girl said as she walked in the doorway. Hi everyone, she waved. How old are you? A random student asked. She had one hand up and was counting on her fingers. She showed the class 5 fingers as she exclaimed 12. That hurt you little. The person under the debris tackled the girl back through the wall and more wrestling could be heard outside the class. Okay, I'll stop, the boy pleaded. A resounding smack was heard as he was sent back through the door. The kid sat up with a red handprint on his face. OWWWW, Yakiru-chan, you didn't have to hit me so hard. Naruto, Ichigo and Tatsuki exclaimed. Well, if you are finished Naruto, you can take a seat in the back. The teacher ordered. Naruto got up and walked to his seat waving to everyone. Now for you, where do you belong? The teacher said as she turned around to ask Yakiru but couldn't find her. Right here teacher lady, she said waving from a now occupied seat next to Naruto and behind Orihime. She's really smart even though she acts nothing like it, Naruto said. Yakiru stabbed him in the top of his hand with a pencil causing Naruto to scream. He turned his hand upside down and the pencil was still stuck in his hand. "OWW Yakiru-chan, it hurts," he said as he started waving his hand around. The entire class was now laughing at Naruto's misfortune. The class was now out to lunch outside the school. Naruto and Yakiru were sitting in the branches of a tree while the others sat below them. "So why are you guys back?" Ishida asked. "Got bored," Naruto replied. "No." Yakiru slapped Naruto, causing him to fall out of the tree. He and Ken-chan had their fight and Naruto didn't want to fight anymore. Naruto jumped back up and yelled at Yakiru. "I fought with him 3 times in 2 days. I couldn't move." "So he beat you pretty badly?" Ichigo asked. "Hell no." Naruto shot back, causing the others to look with confusion. "I can hold my own against Kenpachi. If I use one move I can beat him," Naruto said proudly as he folded his arms. Yakiru jumped down and stood in front of Naruto. "He throws all these kunai." The little girl waved her arms around and made some poses. "Then he can teleport to where any of them are in an instant." She finished. "So you can beat Kenpachi?" Tatsuki asked with a half grin. "Maybe. I don't really know," he answered truthfully. "Then why did you run to our world?" Ichigo asked. "Because freaking Kenpachi got Yakiru to fight with him," he said, glaring at the girl. The others were a little confused. None had ever seen Yakiru fight before. "He asked me to fight. He never lets me do that," she said back. "So what was so bad?" Ishida pointed out. "She's as fast as my flying thunder god." "Ooh, that's the move with the kunai." Yakiru was now jumping in place at the mention of the name. Naruto was about to reply but felt a tingling in his left arm. He fell to one knee as his arm erupted in pain. Naruto ripped his shirt sleeve off and showed a small tattoo of a toad. "Crap, we need somewhere secluded," he said as he started running to the back of the school. "Orihime, can you put a barrier?" Ichigo asked as they caught up and everyone was in a corner hidden from everyone else. "Sure," she said as an orange barrier spread and encompasses them all. "Needs to be bigger than that," Naruto grunted through clenched teeth. Orihime expanded the barrier to a larger area. "Ichigo, the badge." Ichigo took his badge and hit Naruto in the chest, releasing him from his Gigai. Bankai. Naruto turned into his angel form and had already bitten his thumb. Summoning Jutsu. A yellow toad stood beneath Naruto. A little fatter than most that Naruto summoned. "Hey Gamatsu, what's the matter?" Naruto asked, worried for the fearful toad. "Kichi told me to come and tell you to come back to Konoha." "What's going on?" "The armies have made their move. They will be outside Konoha in 7 hours. "Crap, are you coming now?" "No, I can't yet," Naruto said while pulling on his hair. Gamatsu looked a little saddened by Naruto's answer. "Alright, I got it," Naruto said as he summoned a bunch of paper and a brush. He drew for about 10 minutes while everyone peered over his shoulder at the seal. "Gamatsu, put this seal on the ground in Konoha. And make sure it's the ground." The toad nodded. "It has to have about 20 feet on each side. Then just add a little chakra." "Got it." "Yes Naruto-ne-san, I am going to put another one by Urahara's shop. That is where we will all meet as soon as we can, okay?" he said to the others who Naruto guessed would be coming with him. Yay, now get your ass back to Konoha. And don't tell anyone, even Tsunade or Jiraiya. Okay, CYA soon. The yellow toad disappeared in a poof of smoke. "Alright, ready to go back to Soul Society?" Naruto asked as he reverted to normal. "Hell yeah," Ichigo exclaimed. "This month is going to be boring anyway," Tatsuki said as she flexed and took a few light jabs at Ichigo. "Let's go tell Ken-chan. He will love the news," the vice captain stated with joy as she sliced the air, creating a portal. "We'll be back in a few hours," Naruto said as he and Yakiru stepped forward. "Alright, meet at Urahara's after school?" Ichigo asked. "Sounds good." Naruto and Yakiru landed gracefully out of the portal. The 2 guards who greet the travelers raised their hands to greet them, but they were already gone, sprinting off towards the 11th. After 4 minutes of high-speed running they arrived at the barracks. Naruto kicked open the main door to find Akaku and Yumshika asleep in the middle of the floor. Kenpachi was leaning against a wall. He just cracked his one eye open. Naruto smiled as Yakiru sat on his shoulder. "I got a war for ya." Kenpachi's eyes opened as he put a hand on the ground and got right up. Akaku and Yumshika stretched and jumped up and stood next to Kenpachi. Lead the way, Kenpachi said. We gotta go tell the general though, right? Naruto said, hoping the answer would be a no. Yay, you got to convince him to let the 11th go, Akaku said as they ran along Tay roofs. I'll tell him that we are going on a small vacation. To the beach, Yakiru added. No to a battle, Naruto exclaimed as they reached the 1st Division barracks. Naruto entered first and saw Yamamoto and Sarutobi behind 2 desks doing some paperwork as they sipped on some tea. What brings the strongest of the 11th to our office? Yamamoto asked. My home world is under attack, we would like to go assist them. Shinigami are not meant to meddle in the matters of the human world. Therefore, Sarutobi leaned over and whispered into his captain's ear. It seems that you will be able to go. The group got really excited now. There is but 2 conditions, Sarutobi said as he sat back with a smile. Yamamoto continued. There is a soul there known as Orochimaru. At this Naruto grew angry. His eyes even pulsed red for a second. He is to be exterminated because he has been trapping souls there, which is unbalancing the worlds. Like the Quincy did, Akaku asked. Yes, precisely. The second request is that Sarutobi accompany you. All right, I was hoping that he would be coming as well. That'll strike fear into the enemy as they see a dead Hokage return to defend Konoha, Naruto said, grinning like a little kid with a big bag of candy. How do you plan on getting the Ryoka there? Yamamoto asked as they were leaving. Naruto turned around in amazement that the general had known. He gulped before explaining. I have a seal set up in Karakura town to transport us all there. One of my toad summons put the other back in Konoha. Yamamoto smiled. Good choice of plans. Be careful then. The group bowed and opened the doors. This counts as your vacation time, Yamamoto called as they left, earning a growl from the 11th and a chuckle from the general. The end. Now we will see you in the next video.